Chapter 46-46. There were more than 100 silver wolves, and each of them had more than 20 rays of light surrounding them. Bam! 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 The silver wolves that surrounded them were sent flying one after another. Zichen had a few more wounds on his body. He believed that his physical defense was pretty good, but the wolf claws were sharper. The monk threw a heavy punch on the silver wolf's head, sending it flying for more than 10 feet. The silver wolf fell to the ground and rolled. The light on its body dimmed a little, but it didn't die. It got up, swayed its body a few times, and shook its head a few times. After it regained consciousness, it launched another attack. Fat! Zhong Haotian, who knew how to conceal himself, appeared in front of a silver wolf in an instant. The bone blade in his hand immediately pierced through the silver wolf's chin. The silver wolf's body started to struggle unconsciously. Zhong Haotian pulled out the bone blade and disappeared. Gah! Gah! The demon ape let out a bloodthirsty cry. The beast bone in its hand smashed forward crazily, repelling the silver wolves one after another. But it only repelled them. Wang Xian held a long bone spear in her hand. 20 rays of sword intent flowed on the bone spear, making it even colder. Fat! She pierced the eye of a silver wolf that pounced over, and the bone spear went straight into its brain. Wang Xian retreated, and the silver wolf landed on the ground. At the place where she was standing, a few silver wolves' attacks missed. The bone blade in Zichen's hand shattered, and the second silver wolf was killed by him with all his strength. His right hand was trembling, and his face was pale. These silver wolves weren't like the cats and dogs from before. They were hard to kill. Su Mengyaro waved her sleeves gently, and a hazy light swept across. The few silver wolves that attacked Zichen were sent flying by a huge force. Netherworld bit the neck of a silver wolf. He was entangled with the silver wolf's body, and they kept rolling around. Beside it, a hurricane appeared and swept away the approaching silver wolves one by one. Netherworld had been with Heifeng all these years, and they cooperated very well. A green light flashed in front of Lin Shui. She cooperated with Shangguan Yu to fight against the silver wolves. Brilliant light shot out in all directions, and it was extremely dazzling. The powerful attacks injured the silver wolves one by one. Ming Yu was beside her, and the two of them cooperated. As for Pei Wenyaro, he attacked while dodging. He was mostly trying to protect his own life, because with his strength, as long as he faced the silver wolf head-on, he would most likely be killed. There were a lot of silver wolves, and under the situation of a swarm, it was very difficult to kill one in an instant. Although everyone had awakened their abilities, they did not have much light of power. Coupled with the fact that they did not have a suitable weapon, this battle was exceptionally difficult. The Silver Wolf King stood in the distance, silently watching the battle. These humans couldn't even fight against its subordinates, let alone a king like it. There was brutality in its eyes. It glanced at Su Mengyaro and the other women from time to time. No one knew what it was thinking. It was an intelligent creature, but it couldn't speak yet. Peng! Zichen's fist landed, forcing a silver wolf to retreat. At the same time, several wounds appeared on his body. When he turned around, he saw that almost everyone was wounded, and less than 1/10 of the silver wolves had died. They couldn't hesitate any longer. If they continued to fight, they would all die. Retreat! Zichen shouted, "All of you retreat immediately." Facing such a dangerous situation, death was inevitable, so Zichen decisively made a choice. No retreat. The devil ape's eyes stared ahead. What haven't we seen before? Why would we care about these silver wolves? At this moment, the devil ape had many wounds on its body. Some of them were so deep that bones could be seen. Even if I die here, I won't retreat. All of you go first. The others did not speak, but their resolute attitude made everything clear. Because everyone knew that at this moment, whoever stayed would die. This world is more dangerous than I imagined. Everyone retreat immediately, or we will all die here. Zichen said angrily, "When that time comes, who will avenge the dead?" Seeing that everyone was still unmoved, Zichen said again, "Mengyao, take everyone and retreat." Su Mengyao's eyes showed hesitation. "All of you retreat. Zichen and I will stay here. Don't worry, I have a way to bring him back. This time, it was Zhong Haotian who spoke. The current situation forced them to retreat. This was a choice between all of them dying or some of them dying. In just a few short sentences, more wounds were added to everyone's bodies. The Silver Wolf King in front seemed to have sensed everyone's intentions. It, who was originally just watching the battle, suddenly walked forward. Seeing this, Zichen shouted, "Let's go." These silver wolves were no match for it. Once the king attacked, everyone would die. Suddenly, a powerful aura emerged from the Silver Wolf King. This aura made everyone's expression change, and the spiritual energy between heaven and earth gathered towards it. 99 rays of light appeared, and a light array appeared under the Silver Wolf King's feet. It was indeed the array realm. Feeling the powerful aura in front of him, Tyrant sighed and said, "All of you, stop fighting. Everyone retreat immediately and leave me alone." Zichen looked at Tyrant, puzzled. Tyrant said with a calm expression, "Believe me, I can do it. Everyone, leave. Don't leave anyone behind." Tyrant's condition wasn't normal, and it wasn't a day or two ago. For example, he rarely refined crystals. Although his shamelessness was still there, his greedy nature had faded a lot. Other than that, Tyrant's behavior was normal, so Zichen didn't suspect him. He just felt that Tyrant was the same as him, who hadn't awakened his powers. He, who loved to save face, was a little depressed. Looking at the calm Tyrant, Zichen clearly felt that something was wrong. So did the others. "Hurry up and leave, or we'll die," Tyrant shouted and rushed forward. "Don't look back, keep going." Light appeared on Tyrant's body as he rushed forward. That was the sign of an ability. Could it be that Tyrant had awakened his powers? When did this happen? 1 ray, 2 rays, 3 rays of light appeared on Tyrant's body. These rays of light weren't golden, nor were they Buddhist lights. They were black. They were extremely pure and surged with an evil aura. The number of rays of light was still increasing. In the blink of an eye, it had reached 20 rays. This was the highest level of the team. However, this wasn't the end. It was just the beginning. The rays of light continued to appear, and the speed was extremely fast. 25, 30, 35, 40. 48 rays. Not only did Tyrant awaken his powers, but his power had also reached a terrifying 48 rays. Obviously, it wasn't a day or two ago that Tyrant had awakened his powers, but he didn't tell everyone. Why didn't he tell them? Zichen only took a glance and knew the reason. Under the shroud of the black aura, Tyrant seemed to have turned into a demon. Under such circumstances, it was uncertain if Tyrant could still maintain his rationality. Therefore, Zichen decisively signaled everyone to retreat. As they retreated, Zichen saw Tyrant being surrounded by a pack of silver wolves. However, in the next moment, it was like a bomb had exploded. A powerful aura wreaked havoc, and those silver wolves that had stepped forward were all sent flying. Tyrant, who was surrounded by black light, rushed toward the Silver Wolf King. Chapter 46-47. Boom. Heaven and earth seemed to tremble, and a visible ripple spread out in all directions. The nearby silver wolves, the corpses on the ground, and the flowers and grass were all swept away. Only the monk and the Silver Wolf King were left in the field. There was a difference of 1 realm between the two, so the number of light of power was quite different as well. However, the monk was able to block the attack of the Silver Wolf King. Zichen and the rest had already retreated far away. He knew the monk very well. He had awakened his power but did not explain it because he could not control it. That was the evil intention. The evil of good and evil. The monk was not in the right state because he had awakened the evil intention first. How could he suppress the evil intention without the good intention? This was also the main reason why he rarely refined the crystals. He was afraid that he would lose control. "Let's go." Zichen looked back again. The silver wolves had surrounded the monk again. Zhong Haotian, stay behind and watch the monk. After saying that, everyone retreated decisively. Zhong Haotian nodded. He drilled into the ground and approached the battlefield. Zhong Haotian appeared not far from the battlefield and looked at the monk who was showing his power. Only the monk in the light realm was able to fight evenly with the Silver Wolf King. The surrounding silver wolves were eyeing the monk covetously, waiting for an opportunity to strike. At this moment, the corpses of the silver wolves were scattered around Zhong Haotian. The monk was full of energy and should be able to hold on for a while. Fortunately, Zhong Haotian went directly to the periphery and began to secretly harvest the silver wolves' crystals. This would be very useful for his future cultivation. Of course, the prerequisite was that they could avoid this disaster. Another explosion came from afar. The nearby silver wolves were sent flying again. A few of them were injured and could not stand up for a long time. Zhong Haotian used his concealment technique and quietly approached them. He gave them a fatal blow and then took the crystals away and continued to hide. He was like a thief on the battlefield, specializing in stealing the silver wolves' crystals. Awoo! Perhaps the Silver Wolf King was really angry because it could not defeat the monk after a long time. After being forced back by the monk, it let out a long howl toward the sky. Then, another howl came from the horizon. There was smoke and dust on the horizon again. Zhong Haotian saw another pack of wolves appear in his field of vision. They were flying over quickly. As they got closer, Zhong Haotian could clearly see that the corners of these wolves' mouths were stained with blood. They should have participated in the battle. Among these silver wolves, there was also a wolf king. Zhong Haotian's expression immediately changed. This was not good. A portion of the wolves charged towards the monk while the rest continued to charge forward. It was the direction Zi Chen and the others had left in. The two wolf kings went up against Tyrant. With them joining hands, Tyrant had no chance of winning. In an instant, the monk was at a disadvantage. Zhong Haotian gritted his teeth and approached the monk. Bang! The powerful shockwave sent Tyrant's body flying. When he landed on the ground, he coughed out blood. At this moment, there were dozens of wounds of various sizes on his body. However, he did not feel the slightest bit of pain. As he stood up, he once again launched an attack at the Wolf King. His aura was filled with evil intent. His eyes had turned black, and his expression was extremely cold. He no longer had the appearance of a treasure. There was only slaughter, endless slaughter. The other silver wolves did not dare to approach at all. Once they did, they would die. Tyrant seemed to have turned into an emotionless fighting machine. After falling to the ground, he stood up again, no matter how serious his injuries were. However, facing the pincer attack of the two wolf kings, Tyrant's condition was getting worse and worse. In the end, he directly fell to the ground in the distance, his body motionless. This time, he could not even stand up. The two wolf kings waited for a while, but still, the figure in the grass did not stand up. The other silver wolves immediately rushed forward and soon found that there was no one there. The two wolf kings were obviously stunned. When they came closer, they found that the human on the ground was indeed gone. Woo! The Wolf King let out a howl. It was unknown whether it was out of anger or some other emotion. Then, the two groups of wolves joined forces and chased in the direction Zi Chen and the others left. Asterisk 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 Zi Chen and the others were still retreating. No one knew how long they would have to retreat for. At this moment, everyone had wounds of different sizes on their bodies. Some were deep, and some were shallow. For such a group, it was extremely rare to see such serious injuries. Even when they were adventuring in the past, they were not in such a sorry state. If they were in the Saint Spirit realm, each of them would be able to hold their own. However, in this place, they were almost annihilated when facing just over 100 wolves. Everyone's mood was very heavy. They looked back from time to time. They did not see any silver wolves, which meant that Tyrant had stopped them. They were relieved and worried at the same time. "They're here." Devil Ape's voice sounded. Smoke and dust appeared in their field of vision again. Everyone's heart sank. The silver wolves were here again. What about Tyrant? What about Zhong Haotian? Hurry up. Zi Chen gritted his teeth. Now was not the time to be sad. They could only try their best to escape. However, there was nothing else along the way. How could they escape? Perhaps they would soon follow in Tyrant's footsteps. Zi Chen, who had been feeling good along the way, now felt regretful. His awakening ability was too slow. Otherwise, everyone would not have been so passive. There's a sea of flowers in front. Let's go. Su Mengyao's eyes lit up when she saw a patch of vegetation in front of them. The vegetation was filled with colorful flowers. The silver wolves behind them were getting closer. They were less than 300 feet away. Not only were they all here, but their numbers seemed to have increased. In Zichen's perception, there were actually 2 wolf kings inside. The sea of flowers was a path that everyone had to pass through. They could only charge forward. However, could the vegetation stop the silver wolves? Obviously not. They were the first ones to stop them. After entering the range of the sea of flowers, their speed slowed down. However, there was also an advantage. The vegetation here affected the silver wolves' speed. If there was no way to retreat, this would be a good place to fight to the death. Although the end result might be that everyone was annihilated. Let's fight to the death here. Zichen turned around and looked at the approaching wolves with a murderous look in his eyes. At this moment, Zichen was shocked to find that the wolves had stopped and did not approach the sea of flowers. The others also noticed the situation and were very puzzled. The silver wolves stopped outside the sea of flowers for a moment and then retreated bit by bit. Zichen saw fear in their eyes. The silver wolves were terrified. What was in the sea of flowers? Or could it be that there was something behind them? Chapter 46-48. Turning around, Zichen saw a bunch of blooming flowers standing tall. The petals and stamens were like human faces, looking down at them from above. Originally, the flowers were only half the height of a person. Unexpectedly, they had grown so tall, like living creatures that could open their mouths at any time and reveal their sharp fangs. They had not escaped from the wolf's mouth, but now they had entered the tiger's mouth. The others' expressions changed. They stood there, not daring to move. Who would have thought that there would be danger in this field of flowers? The silver wolves let out low growls and slowly retreated. After some consideration, they seemed to be giving up on pursuing Zichen's group. Seeing that even the silver wolves did not dare to approach them, Zichen became even more worried. Whoosh! At this moment, Zhong Haotian drilled out from the ground, carrying the monk who had fainted and was covered in blood. However, as soon as he appeared, Zhong Haotian stood there, motionless. In an instant, more than a dozen flowers appeared around him, eyeing him covetously. The flowers had slender branches, like poisonous snakes raising their heads. Zhong Haotian glanced at Zichen and asked with his eyes. Zichen had a helpless expression. Woo! The silver wolf king let out a long howl. The silver wolves began to retreat decisively and soon disappeared. They retreated just like that. Zichen's group did not feel relieved. Instead, they felt even more nervous. These dangerous flowers had yet to launch an attack. They could not continue like this. Everyone's injuries needed treatment, and they could not afford to waste time. Zichen planned to retreat slowly so as not to provoke them. It's fate to be here. Why don't you come and sit? At this moment, a light voice sounded. The flowers in front of them began to sway, and countless petals flew up. A woman in a long white dress leisurely walked over amidst the dancing petals. The fragrance of the flowers filled the air. Zichen held his breath, worried that it was highly toxic. Don't be nervous. I mean you no harm. The woman smiled gently and looked at the group with her long and narrow eyes. She's so beautiful that it makes people jealous. She glanced at the faces of Su Mengyaro and the others, and then looked at the others. Finally, her eyes rested on Zichen. Looking at the alert Zichen, she repeated, "Don't be nervous. I mean no harm." Zichen didn't say anything. The flowers on both sides were like human faces, eyeing him covetously. If this was called no malice, then Zichen really didn't know what was. Most importantly, the silver wolves that could kill them had retreated. The flowers here were obviously more terrifying than the silver wolves. What about this woman? My name is Mild Fragrance. The woman gently waved her hand, and the flower immediately returned to its original state, swaying with the wind. Everything returned to normal. Don't worry, I don't have any ill intentions. If I did, You guys wouldn't be alive. Dan Xiang stood in the middle of the sea of flowers and looked at them quietly. Zi Chen. Zi Chen cupped his fists and said, "Thank you for saving my life. Since you're here, why don't you come to my place?" Mild Fragrance said, "And if you leave now, you might encounter the silver wolves of Gushan. Then I'll have to trouble you." Zi Chen cupped his fists again. In the current situation, they had no choice but to go. "Follow me." Mild Fragrance turned around and led the way. Her slender fingers swayed between the flowers as if she was playing a zither. The flowers began to sway and release rays of light. These were all fluorescent pollen, and they carried a unique fragrance as they scattered in the surroundings. When everyone smelled the fragrance, they were shocked. The pollen that fell on their bodies actually stopped bleeding when it touched their wounds. Some small wounds even healed at a speed visible to the naked eye. It was a miracle. This was the goodwill shown by Mild Fragrance. Zi Chen cupped his fists again and was about to thank her. Mild Fragrance said, "You're welcome. It's fate that you guys can come here. I believe in fate." Zhong Haotian carried Monk and walked at the back. The black gas that was circulating around Monk's body had disappeared. He, who had fainted, was breathing steadily as if he had fallen into a deep sleep. The flowers on both sides swayed and made way for everyone. Walking in the sea of flowers, Mild Fragrance was like a flower fairy. There was nothing else here except for flowers. The flowers were colorful and varied. At a glance, it was as if they were in a sea of flowers with no end in sight. Countless pollen fluttered in the air. Su Mengyaro and the rest gradually calmed down and began to appreciate this rare scene. A smile appeared on everyone's face. Women in the world seemed to like beautiful things. Even Devil Ape and the rest gradually let down their guard. Finally, Zi Chen saw a building. It was a wooden building with 2 floors. The surroundings were filled with flowers, like a greenhouse. There was a small fenced courtyard outside. The fences were also filled with flowers of various colors. Mild Fragrance invited everyone into the small courtyard and into a room. She personally poured tea for everyone. It was a type of flower tea. It was not as simple as just 100 types of flowers. It was the best among the hundreds of flowers. The tea was good, but Zi Chen still did not let down his guard. Why did this woman who lived in the sea of flowers want to save them? Why did she invite them back? After all, they did not know each other. Zi Chen suddenly had a guess in his heart. Could it be that under the sea of flowers, corpses were buried? And the reason why the sea of flowers was flourishing was because corpses were used as nutrients. Mild Fragrance looked at Zi Chen and seemed to have guessed his concern. "Don't worry, I have no ill intentions towards you. After drinking the tea, you can stay here and heal your injuries first. As for any questions you have, we can talk about them after your injuries are healed." After saying that, Mild Fragrance left, leaving Zi Chen and the rest in the room. Everyone looked at Zi Chen. Zi Chen said, "Heal your injuries first. We can talk about it after your injuries are healed." Zhong Haotian took out some crystals that were dug out from the silver wolf. Each of them was of high quality. These crystals could help everyone heal their injuries and also increase their strength. Su Mengyao's injuries were the first to recover. She walked out of the greenhouse and came to the sea of flowers. Her mind was clear and relaxed. She took a deep breath. Her beautiful face was filled with intoxication. Suddenly, Su Mengyaro opened her eyes and looked at the sea of flowers in front of her. Her face was filled with doubt. After a moment, she walked forward. During this time, she was very careful. She came to the center of the sea of flowers and looked ahead quietly. The flowers here were colorful. Those who did not love flowers would not be able to distinguish the species. She stood there and looked quietly. Looking at the flowers in front of her, she fell into deep thought. The flowers swayed, and countless pollen flew into the air, circling in the air. Dan Xiong appeared behind Su Mengyaro without a sound. Chapter 46-49. Pale Fragrance quietly looked at Su Mengyaro, and Su Mengyaro also quietly looked ahead. "Is this really fate?" Pale Fragrance muttered in her heart. Her figure disappeared and did not disturb them. Su Mengyaro felt something in her heart, but when she turned around, she saw nothing. Pale Fragrance returned to the greenhouse. This time, she brought many fruits that could satisfy everyone's hunger. These were very rare things. At least when they were outside, no one could find them. Let's eat something first. Pale Fragrance's beautiful face always had a gentle smile. If you recover from your injuries, you can walk around. It might be helpful in increasing your strength. Zichen thanked her. The others also nodded at Pale Fragrance. Leaving the greenhouse, Pale Fragrance walked towards Su Mengyaro. Su Mengyaro was still looking at the sea of flowers in a daze. What are you thinking about? Pale Fragrance's voice came from the side. She sat beside Su Mengyaro. Nothing. Su Mengyaro shook her head. You've been looking here for a long time. What are you looking at? Pale Fragrance asked again. I don't know. I keep feeling that there's something interesting here, but I can't see it. Su Mengyaro chuckled, then turned to look at Pale Fragrance. Why did you save us? Do you believe in fate? Pale Fragrance did not answer her question. Su Mengyaro nodded. Of course, she was new to fate. She had always felt that it was fate that brought her together with Zichen. It's fate that brought you here. Even a simple gesture is also because of fate. Faint Fragrance smiled and said, Fate is a very mysterious thing, isn't it? What is this world? Looking at the beautiful flowers in front of her, Su Mengyaro asked this question. I originally wanted to tell Zichen. If you want to know, I can tell you first. Forget it, I'll tell him. After Pale Fragrance left, Su Mengyaro continued to sit there in a daze. Monk woke up from his deep sleep. He looked around vigilantly. When he saw his friends, he let out a sigh of relief. Pain still came from his body. He sat up. Everyone's gaze fell on Monk. Since you're awake, heal your wounds first. Zichen's calm voice sounded. The monk quickly glanced around. Other than Su Mengyaro, he found that everyone was there and they were in good condition. Where is this? The monk asked in a hoarse voice. It's a long story. Heal your wounds first. The Silver Wolf's crisis has been resolved. It's very safe here, Zichen said again. Zhong Haotian threw a crystal over and the monk caught it. After using the evil spirit, he forgot everything. His consciousness was out of control, and he didn't even know if he would still be alive. This was also the reason why he had always been unwilling to admit this ability, because it could only be used once, and his life and death would be out of his control. Furthermore, he was the good and evil monk. Why did the evil thoughts appear but the good thoughts did not? He had always thought that he was kind, but he never thought that he would be slapped in the face by reality. After Mild Fragrance delivered 2 more fruits, Zichen's injuries were fully healed. At this point, with the exception of Tyrant and the Demon Ape, everyone else had recovered from their injuries and had gone to the Sea of Flowers. Zichen stood up, glanced at the 2 of them, and walked out. Wang Xian and the rest were playing in the Sea of Flowers, looking very happy. Su Mengyaro sat alone in the Sea of Flowers, lost in thought. Xing Chen and the rest were not admiring the flowers, but they were unwilling to stay in the flower room. Moreover, Mild Fragrance had said that walking in the Sea of Flowers would be helpful for cultivation. Zichen looked at everyone. After recovering from their injuries, everyone was in good condition. Xing Chen saw him and nodded at him from afar. Lin Shui was waving at him. Zichen walked in another direction. At this moment, he had many doubts in his heart that needed answers. Mild Fragrance came to Zichen's side and said, I know you have a lot of questions. You can ask them slowly. I have a lot of time, so there's no hurry. Zichen opened his mouth, but he didn't know what to say. He had many questions before. Is this the Paradise Kingdom? Zichen asked in the end. You can say so. Zichen was puzzled by Mild Fragrance's ambiguous answer. In the past, this was indeed the Paradise Kingdom. However, with the passage of countless years, the kingdom has changed greatly. Although it still has the foundation of the Paradise Kingdom, its area has expanded by a lot and it has changed its name. Mild Fragrance paused for a moment and said, Now, this place is called the Gushan Empire. The place you are now in is a region of the empire called the Gaduan region. Gaduan is the king of this place. Those silver wolves are his subordinates. Zichen asked, If the silver wolves are controlled by someone, why did he attack us? Not to you, but to everyone who came here. As for the reason, I don't know the details. Mild Fragrance hesitated for a moment before saying, however, I heard that the greatest wish of those kings is to be able to leave this place. His attack on you might have something to do with this. What is Geduan's realm? Zichen asked again. Mild Fragrance said, what is his realm? He's now a king, which is equivalent to the king of the Paradise Kingdom. Is it the Array realm? Zichen asked again and explained the realm that everyone agreed on. That's an interesting way to put it. Mild Fragrance smiled and said, however, he's neither in the Light realm nor the Array realm. He's in an even more powerful realm. You probably haven't seen him yet. What about you? I'm the leader. I don't have any realm. Who's stronger between you and Geduan? We haven't fought. This is my territory. I rarely go out, and Geduan almost never comes out. So, it's impossible for us to fight. Then, can you tell me about your realm? What level of power will change when it reaches? In your words, the limit of the Light realm is 49 strands of power. Exceeding 49 strands will condense into a light array. At that time, your combat strength will greatly increase. Mild Fragrance stretched out her hand and pointed forward. Countless pollen gathered in front of her and turned into a silver wolf. At this moment, the silver wolf's body was flowing with power. First, it increased from 1 strand to 40, and it didn't stop there. After the 49th strand, it suddenly stopped increasing. Mild Fragrance explained, this is a hurdle. It'll be a little difficult to cross it. Then, she pointed her finger again. The illusory silver wolf in front of her had an additional strand of power. After this strand of light appeared, a light array condensed under the silver wolf's feet. It was just like the deer king. Then, the strands of power increased again, and stopped at 99 strands. This is also a hurdle, and it's a big one. The 100th strand of power appeared on the silver wolf's body. After this strand of power appeared, all the light circulating around the silver wolf's body disappeared. The light array under its feet seemed to become a real existence and began to operate. At this step, the light array is completed and can operate on its own. Chapter 4650. The light array spun under the silver wolf's feet in the air. A steady stream of power gathered towards the silver wolf's body as if it was inexhaustible. The 100 rays of power on its body had all disappeared, leaving only the light array under its feet. What's next? Zichen didn't expect the realm to evolve like this. It's already very difficult to reach this step. It'll be even more difficult to go further. Light Fragrance explained, as for what's in the future, you'll have to figure it out yourself. Looking at Zichen's confused expression, Light Fragrance said, you're outsiders and are different from us. Our path may not be suitable for you. Zichen nodded to show that he understood. Light Fragrance turned around and looked into the distance where Su Mengyaro was. Don't say I didn't warn you. If you have nothing to do, go out and explore. Maybe you'll find a lot of good things. The friendliness of this world to outsiders is beyond imagination. Compared to other places, we believe in fate more. As long as fate arrives, the opportunity will come. It wasn't the first time Zichen heard the word fate. Meiji said the same thing. Could this world be about fate? Fate is very mysterious. Look, she's fated to be here. Light Fragrance waved her hand gently. In front of Su Mengyaro, hundreds of flowers swayed and parted to the side. A blue and white flower appeared in the air and bloomed in front of Su Mengyao's eyes. Su Mengyao's eyes lit up and her heart was suddenly enlightened. It was as if the thing she had been waiting for finally appeared in front of her. She reached out to touch it. The next moment, the blue and white flower cut off its roots and disappeared. It then appeared in Su Mengyao's hand. It's a phantom spirit, something that appeared naturally. It hasn't bloomed for many years. But after you came in, it suddenly bloomed. For the past few days, Su Mengyaro sat there every day and accelerated its growth. Now, it can't wait any longer. This is fate. At this moment, Su Mengyaro turned around. Her beautiful face was filled with a joyful smile. Sister, what's that? Xuelin whispered. Everyone else also noticed the abnormality and looked at Su Mengyaro. The next moment, Su Mengyaro appeared next to Shui Lin. She gently shook the blue and white flower in her hand and smiled. Then, Su Mengyaro appeared beside Wang Xian and in front of Yu. Zi Chen stood in the distance and watched. His expression changed little by little because Su Mengyaro, who had turned around to look at him first, was still there. Several Su Mengyaos around him were also present. Is it an illusion? Suddenly, Zi Chen's vision blurred. Su Mengyaro was right in front of him, winking at him playfully. In Zi Chen's perception, the Su Mengyaro in front of him was the real one, so the others should be fake. Just as Zi Chen was about to give her a hug, Su Mengyaro disappeared, and so did the others. Only the one who had turned around was standing there. It turned out that she hadn't moved at all from the beginning to the end. This. Zi Chen used surprise to cover up his awkwardness. This is fate. Pale fragrance covered her mouth and smiled. Wang Xian and the others gathered around and chattered excitedly. Is that a weapon? Zi Chen asked. Kind of, but it's not refined. It's natural, Pale fragrance said. Zi Chen's expression changed slightly. You know about weapons? No one had used refined weapons in this world, or rather, there were no refined weapons in this world. Geduan has a weapon that was passed down a long time ago. It's said to be very powerful. Pale fragrance said, in addition, there are many strange things in this world that can be used to assist, such as the phantom you saw before. But the phantom is more compatible with Su Mengyaro than I thought, so fate is very important. Zi Chen nodded. He believed in fate. Because of fate, he had been saved twice since he came here. In a cave, Chung Ho was lying there, snoring from time to time. Ayo, my lord, why are you still asleep? A shrill voice rang out as a huge flame rat ran in. The snoring stopped. Chung Ho, who was woken up, opened his eyes and looked at the other party with dissatisfaction. My lord, didn't I ask you to leave? Why are you still sleeping here? The flame rat came up to him and scratched his chin. It's so comfortable here. Why should I leave? Chung Ho said. My lord, this is just a rat hole. It's damp and dark. It's really not suitable for a noble lord like you. The flame rat pleaded. My lord, I think you should leave. You can't be so self-deprecating. Although this is a rat hole, it can at least shelter you from the wind and rain. I've decided to stay here. When the flame rat heard this, he was almost scared to tears. Master, you can't joke about this. The Ji Shan people are looking for you all over the world. It won't be long before they find this place. When that time comes, not only will you die, but I will also die with you. I'm still young and have a long life ahead of me. I don't want to die. They're just Gushan people. I can kill them with one punch. Don't worry. Chung Ho tried to calm the flame rat. Aside from being powerful, the Gushan people have great numbers. It's impossible to kill them all. Otherwise, they wouldn't have become the guards of all the kings. My lord, I beg you, please leave. I really don't want to die. The flame rat kept bowing to Chung Ho. Chung Ho was unmoved. Clearly, he was not planning to leave. The flame rat rolled his eyes. Why don't you go to Green Summit Mountain 100 miles away? Compared to here, it's much safer there. What's the point of being safe? I didn't even go when Geduan invited me. Why would I go to Green Summit Mountain? In terms of safety, where is it safer than Geduan Castle? Chung Ho glanced at the flame rat, his face full of disdain. The flame rat grew anxious. My lord, that's King Geduan. You didn't even go when he invited you. Why are you staying here? Stop joking around with me. Do you want to die? Chung Ho's tone turned cold. This is too much of a bully. You didn't even go when King Geduan invited you. Instead, you came to my place. The flame rat shrank back and muttered. So what if I'm bullying you? I'm being bullied outside every day. Have I ever complained? So what if I come here to bully you? You allow others to bully me, but I can't bully you. The flame rat's heart trembled again. There were people who could bully this lord. Then how terrifying was the outside world? Why would those kings go to such a terrifying world? Chung Ho looked at the flame rat. Did you find out what I asked you to find out? Chapter 46:51. Although it was a rat hole, it was spacious and not humid at all. Chung Ho sat up and squinted his eyes at the flame rat. The flame rat felt a chill down its spine. You're the Rat King with countless soldiers under your command. You can't even find a single person? Chung Ho clenched his fist. You don't know what to do. Why? Do you think I'm easy to talk to? Sir, although I'm the Rat King, I'm not the only Rat King here. We all have our own territories. This time, the Gaduan king gave the order to kill all intruders. Maybe that's already that. The flame rat became more careful as it spoke. You're such a chatterbox. Don't worry. Even if you die, Zichen won't die. Chung Ho said, you rats are born to like digging holes. Being in a group is your biggest advantage. Don't think that I don't know that you kings can communicate with each other. So, hurry up and inform the other rats. I must find Zichen. Chung Ho said. Sir, I don't have that ability. The flame rat said bitterly and helplessly, I don't have that ability. Suddenly, the flame rat's eyes turned. Sir, there's movement outside. I'll go and check it out. Chung Ho looked outside. The flame rat had already run out. When it was outside, it saw the Gushan people. These Gushan people were half the height of a human. They did not form a group and walked forward in a disorderly manner. When they were moving forward, they were checking their surroundings. They must have followed some traces. Sir, I report. The flame rat immediately screamed, I report, there's a human here. The Gushan people raised their heads and looked at the Rat King standing upright. Then, they walked over. In the hole, Chung Ho smiled coldly and walked out. Although these Gushan people looked like humans, they were not real humans. They were shouting and waving their hands. They were still beastly. The next moment, they raised their weapons and rushed toward Chung Ho. Dozens of power lights appeared on their bodies and a light formation appeared under their feet. A powerful aura was surging. Chung Ho smiled coldly and walked forward. There was no light flowing around his body. He simply threw out a punch. As punch after punch landed, the Gushan people who were comparable to the Deer King and the Wolf King were sent flying one by one. Half of them were beaten to death. The flame rat lay in the distance and watched. At that moment, its head was buried deep in the ground. From the beginning to the end, the human had not used any power. He had only used his pure physical body to defeat the Grahan. One had to know that those were the Gushan people. Every one of them was equivalent to a king in the outside world. Just how strong was this human? After the Grishan people fell to the ground, fear appeared in their eyes. Those who were lucky enough to survive immediately wanted to escape. A cold light flashed in Chung Ho's eyes, and he immediately charged forward. He still did not use the power of his realm. After a few punches, all of the Grashmen fell to the ground and died. Not a single one was left alive. Looking at the corpses, Chung Ho said coldly, none of you should exist in this world. My lord's combat power is unparalleled. This is really an eye-opener for me. Don't worry, my lord. I'll do my best to help you find Zichen. The flame rat ran over and said with a fawning look on its face. You're really flexible. However, you better hurry up. My patience is limited. Chung Ho said indifferently. Don't worry, my lord. I'll go look for him now. The flame rat ran a few steps and then turned around. My lord, let me remind you. Other than the Grashman's combat power, they have a large number of people and are very difficult to deal with. If you kill these people today, the next time you kill them, the number will double. Moreover, there are chief-level existences among the Grashmen. Above the chief-level existences are the Grahan devils. So, my lord, you should run away quickly. If there's any news about Zichen, I'll take the initiative to look for you. Run! Chung Ho sneered. I have a lot of skills, but I don't know how to run. After half a day, the injured Chung Ho ran away. Zichen and the rest were still staying in the Sea of Flowers. He would walk in the Sea of Flowers every day to try his luck and also to cultivate. The pollen in the sea of flowers was beneficial to cultivation. It was comparable to the crystals outside. As the last person in the team who had not awakened his ability, Chen felt a lot of pressure. He could not drag everyone down. The monk's injuries were gradually recovering. On this day, he walked out of the flower house. His expression had returned to normal. He walked in the sea of flowers without saying a word. Is it very troublesome? Chen came in front of the monk. The monk nodded. He naturally knew what Chen was talking about. There's no way to control it. So, I'm not going to tell you that the attributes of power are not important. The main thing is that it depends on who has it. Chen said, there must be a reason for the appearance of power. Think of a way to overcome it. Even evil thoughts can be used as a means to increase one's power. The last time the monk fought the Wolf King, who was in the formation realm, with the strength of the light realm. Their strength was less than half, but they were evenly matched. This showed how strong evil thoughts were. The monk said gloomily, that's not what I care about. Why is it not good thoughts? Am I not a kind-hearted monk? Chen patted the monk's shoulder and said earnestly, you know what kind of person you are. You don't have to say it out loud. We all know. Chen walked away, leaving the monk alone to ponder. He always felt that Chen was scolding him. Everyone's injuries had recovered, and many of them had made progress in their cultivation. It seemed that it was time to leave. Light Fragrance did not have any malicious intentions. During the journey, she told Chen a lot of secrets about this place. Actually, you don't have to go to the depths of this place. That is the area controlled by Gaduan. Apart from controlling thousands of beasts, he also has countless grim people as his subordinates. He is very repulsed by outsiders like you. Instead of going to the depths of this place and risking your life, it is better to stay in the periphery and try your luck. For example, if you see a large forest, you can go for a walk. If you see an unclimbable mountain, you can also try to climb it. Light Fragrance's words were very clear, and Chen naturally understood. This sea of flowers seemed to have no end. However, when Chen and the others escaped, they did not see such a large sea of flowers. Obviously, this was Light Fragrance's unique space. When they walked out of the sea of flowers and looked back, the area of the sea of flowers was only 1,000 feet wide. Light Fragrance did not appear. The surrounding flowers swayed as if they were sending everyone off. Light Fragrance said that the silver wolves had left, and their following journey was safe. However, it was also relatively safe. Perhaps the silver wolves would come back. The sky was blue, and there were occasionally a few white clouds floating in the sky. Zhong Haotian poked his head out from the ground and said, it is rare to see people around here. I don't know if they are dead or have escaped. Also, there are traces of silver wolves more than 10 miles away. There are 13 of them. I don't see the Wolf King yet. They should be in charge of surveillance. Chapter 4652. Chen wanted to attack the silver wolves, not only for revenge, but also for the crystals in their bodies. The silver wolves were very strong, and the quality of their crystals was also very high. Last time, when Zhong Haotian picked up the crystal, everyone had refined it. The effect was very good, and their cultivation had improved a lot. After leaving the Sea of Flowers, Xing Chen came to Chen's side and whispered, don't you think it's strange? In such a big sea of flowers, there's only one person, Mild Fragrance. Chen glanced at Xing Chen, but didn't say anything. Because he didn't know how to answer. There were many idle people in the world. Wasn't it normal to be alone? She's not human. At this moment, Su Mengyao's voice sounded. Everyone looked at Su Mengyao with a surprised expression. Mild Fragrance wasn't human? That's just her appearance. In fact, she's not human. Or rather, it's more appropriate to call her it. The moment Su Mengyao obtained the phantom, she saw Mild Fragrance's identity. At that time, Mild Fragrance was also very surprised. Previously, no one asked, so she didn't say anything. Everyone was very curious. They asked Mild Fragrance's true form, but Su Mengyao didn't say anything. Under Zhong Haotian's lead, everyone came to the place where the silver wolves were. There were a total of 12 of them. When enemies meet, Their eyes turn red. Almost without Zichen's order, everyone rushed forward. The last time they met, it wasn't because they were weak, but because there were too many silver wolves. If both sides had the same number, the silver wolves would have died. Zichen punched. He still hadn't awakened his ability, but because he had refined 2 silver wolf crystals, his body had become much stronger. Along with the punch, the silver wolf was sent flying and fell to the ground. After being hit in the head, the silver wolf struggled a few times before falling to the ground and dying. At this moment, everyone who had swarmed forward had also ended their battles one after another. Next, they didn't leave, but stayed to deal with the silver wolf's corpse. Now that they didn't have any weapons, the silver wolf's bones were very sturdy and suitable for use. At the same time, the silver wolf's meat could be used to satisfy their hunger. Zhong Haotian went further away to investigate, looking for the next prey. If there were similar small groups of silver wolves, that would be the best. Up until now, they still hadn't seen a single human. They didn't know if they were all dead or had escaped. Instead, they found quite a few small beasts, but Zichen didn't care about them. This was because the crystals obtained from killing them were no longer of much use to them. The power of the crystal entered his body and became a part of his own power. Zichen still did not obtain any abilities. If he encountered a bottleneck, Zichen wouldn't mind learning an ability on the spot. Unfortunately, there was no bottleneck. He could continue to grow, but the ability would not appear for a long time. This made Zichen feel conflicted. Pei Wenyaro was helping everyone choose some suitable bone soldiers. The quality of the silver wolf bones was indeed much better than the previous ones. Zichen finished refining his first crystal. His speed was faster than the others, but unfortunately, he didn't awaken any abilities. In the words of the monk, one could eat but not dry. Zhong Haotian, who went out to investigate, came back. There are no silver wolves nearby. Where are we going now? Zichen glanced to the right and said, let's wait here first. We'll hone the wolf bones first. Zichen was actually waiting for more silver wolves to arrive. The last time they faced a pack of wolves, they could only run away. But after the trip to the Sea of Flowers, everyone's cultivation had improved to different degrees. Zichen felt that if they encountered a pack of wolves again, they could still fight. In addition, there was another reason. Only the crystal inside the silver wolf could help them improve their strength quickly. Zichen intended to hone the wolf bones here to make the weapon in his hand sharper. Dan Xiong said that there were very few weapons in this world. They were all passed down from the past. But there were many things that could be used to make weapons in this world. As the king of this place, Geduan was in charge of this area. In this area, there was a place called Bamboo House. It was said that the bamboo produced there was very hard and could be used to make natural weapons. It didn't need to be condensed, just a little polishing. It was also said that the Geduan's subordinates, the Gushan people, used this kind of bamboo weapon, which was very powerful. Zichen, who was polishing the bone knife in his hand, felt an unusual aura. He stopped what he was doing and turned around. After the last crisis, his perception had become stronger. He had already sensed the appearance of the silver wolf pack. The others were slow to react. They stood up and looked forward. The silver wolf pack had appeared. It was the same opponent as last time, but there was only one wolf king. Seeing the wolf pack again, everyone's eyes immediately turned cold. The opportunity for revenge had come. Under the azure sky, a light breeze blew. Countless green grass swayed. The wolf pack approached quickly. The wolf king was still in the crowd, looking down on them. Zichen glanced at the monk. Tyrant nodded his head and walked forward. He walked alone, facing the wolf pack. The wolf king's eyes turned cold. He recognized the monk. He opened his mouth and let out a long howl. The howl echoed in the wilderness. The wolf pack in the distance gradually slowed down. Beast, you're quite smart. Zichen's eyes turned cold. He had guessed the other party's intention. Sure enough, not long after, another wolf pack appeared in his perception. There was a wolf king in the pack. This time, all his enemies had come. 2 wolf packs and 2 wolf kings, one on the left and one on the right, quickly surrounded the monk. When they were about to meet the monk, the silver wolves suddenly scattered. Some of them rushed toward Zi Chen and the others. Looking at the silver wolves, Xing Chen laughed loudly. This time, it's our turn to explode. The devil ape took a step forward, staring at the wolf pack with its red eyes. It's time to settle the score. Light circulated around Black Wind's body. Its strength had reached 30 rays. Yu Ming's eyes stared straight ahead. As a great evil beast of the Saint Spirit realm, he was bullied by a pack of wolves. Naturally, he had to take revenge. As for the other women, they were also prepared to fight for revenge. However, the first one to attack was not them. It was the monk in front. Rays of light circulated. Evil thoughts began to devour the monk's rationality. Dozens of black energy circulated around the monk. The spiritual energy between heaven and earth became violent. A part of it seemed to be attracted and gathered toward the monk. The amount of energy surrounding the monk instantly exceeded 49 and reached 50. A light array appeared under his feet. Array Realm. Chapter 4653. The monk, who had used the power of evil, was trying to regain control of his consciousness and wake himself up. However, this did not stop him from attacking the two kings. Because there were only two kings in his field of vision at this moment. The moment the battle broke out, Su Mengyaro, who was among the people behind, walked forward alone. With her delicate body, she faced the pack of wolves. Unlike the last time, there was a blue and white flower in front of her this time, which made her face even more beautiful and moving. Zi Chen and the others watched quietly as Su Mengyaro walked forward alone. The silver wolves spread out and did not attack Su Mengyaro alone. Obviously, they did not think it was worth it to deal with one person. At this moment, the flower in front of Su Mengyaro emitted a ray of light. All the silver wolves saw Zi Chen and the others behind them suddenly turn into rays of light and shoot into the sky like shooting stars. At this moment, they all broke free from the control of gravity and flew high into the sky. Almost subconsciously, all the silver wolves looked up. Zi Chen and the others, who had fallen into the sky, stayed in the air for a short while. Then, their bodies suddenly disappeared. At the place where they disappeared, countless green vines appeared. These vines fell straight down and wrapped around the silver wolves. These vines were very tough, like ropes made of steel. The longer they wrapped around the wolves, the tighter they became. The silver wolves began to struggle with all their might. Some fell to the ground as if the vines were strangling their necks, unable to breathe. This was the sight of the silver wolves. In the eyes of Zi Chen and the others, Su Mengyaro took a few steps forward. She did not do anything. She just glanced at them and those silver wolves stopped. The next moment, the silver wolves seemed to have been hit by some kind of spell. They turned over and fell to the ground. Some even began to twitch and then stopped breathing. They were dead. From the beginning to the end, Su Mengyao had only glanced at them and it had such an effect. Zhong Haotian disappeared immediately. The next moment, he appeared beside a silver wolf on the ground. The sharp bone spear in his hand directly pierced into the silver wolf's head. Zi Chen was in another direction. After the silver wolves fell to the ground, he made his move. This was a rare opportunity. He swung the bone saber in his hand and cut off the silver wolf's head. The others followed closely behind and started to reap the lives of the silver wolves. Compared to the wretched state they were in last time, they were much more relaxed this time. If this continued, all the silver wolves would be killed. Not a single one would survive. The silver wolves fell to the ground, ready to be slaughtered. At this moment, the two silver wolf kings that were attacking the monk in the distance sensed something unusual. One of them let out a long howl. Waves of sound waves spread out, forming ripples that shook the air. Su Mengyaro, whose face was already pale, spat out a mouthful of blood. The flower in front of her dimmed and returned to her side. The eyes of the fallen silver wolves regained their clarity, but their minds were blank. The air was filled with the thick smell of blood, which immediately alerted them. At this time, the number of dead silver wolves had already reached 30. The silver wolves that had recovered rushed forward and pounced on the people nearby. At this moment, they used the light of ability, greatly increasing their strength and speed. Fortunately, None of them had reached the array realm yet. But Zhong Haotian's attacks were even faster. He could usually kill the silver wolves with a single blow. Then, he immediately dove down to avoid the other silver wolves. The bone saber in Zichen's hand was also unusually sharp. It was not as strenuous for him to kill the silver wolves. He retreated as he fought. His expression was calm and steady. He was trying to avoid being injured or reduce the damage caused by the attacks. The 6 silver wolves nearby all charged at Heifeng. Heifeng stood there motionless. Beside him, several hurricanes appeared. These hurricanes engulfed the 6 silver wolves. 5 of them were sent flying by the hurricanes. The remaining one let out a fut sound in the hurricanes. When the hurricanes dissipated, the silver wolf's body was already covered with wounds. It looked like it had been dismembered. It was exhaling more than it was inhaling. Beside Heifeng, Netherworld was also surrounded by several silver wolves. It did not have Heifeng's wind summoning technique, but it did not retreat either. Streaks of dim light flickered on its body. In the next moment, it opened its mouth and inhaled at the few silver wolves. A strange force fell on the silver wolves. Inside their bodies, there was an illusory wolf cub that was forcefully dragged out. During this time, the silver wolves struggled. Dozens of streaks of light flickered continuously. It seemed like they were in a tug-of-war with Netherworld. But as Netherworld bit, a strange vibration force spread out. The wolf cub was stunned for a moment. Then, they were swallowed into Netherworld's stomach. These were the souls of the silver wolves. After losing their souls, they also lost their lives. After devouring the souls of the 5 silver wolves in one gulp, the Netherworld immediately retreated. At this moment, its appearance was distorting, and the phantom of a wolf would appear from time to time. It was unknown if it was fighting with the silver wolves for control of its body. Seeing this, one of the silver wolves immediately pounced on Netherworld. At this moment, a streak of sword light appeared and pierced through the silver wolf's head. In Wang Xianer's hands, the bone sword was comparable to a divine weapon. Lin Shui, Shangguan Yu Brilliant, and Ming Yu also displayed their own techniques and attacked the silver wolves. Su Mengyaro, who was pale, retreated. She was not needed for the battle for now. Zichen, who had not awakened any abilities but was not weak in combat, looked at the battle in the distance and said, "Zhong Haotian, go and help Monk." Zhong Haotian immediately disappeared. Boom! A strong force surged and a ravine appeared on the ground. At the end of the ravine, the Wolf King lay there. The light around its body dimmed slightly. At the beginning of the ravine, Monk stood there with his fists clenched. Evil thoughts lingered around him, like a god that had descended to the world. Another silver Wolf King launched an ambush at Monk from the side. It was like a streak of bright silver light, approaching in an instant. A strong wind swept past, stirring up dust. Monk's hands were pressed against the Wolf King's mouth. Fresh blood flowed through the gaps between his fingers. His gaze was still cold, as if he could not feel any pain under the influence of evil thoughts. When the fresh blood fell into the Wolf King's mouth, it seemed to have stimulated its ferocity. The 98 rays of light around its body became chaotic. Bang! Monk exerted his strength again and threw the Wolf King out. It left a trail of dust on the ground. At this moment, Zhong Haotian's figure appeared. The bone spear in his hand pierced into the Wolf King's wound. Poof! It went straight into the wound. After this attack, Zhong Haotian immediately retreated and did not continue to fight. In the meantime, he used another ability. Chapter 4654. This was the first time Zhong Haotian used the Insect King's ability. He didn't use it previously because he didn't meet a worthy opponent. After the attack, Zhong Haotian immediately retreated and disappeared. If he didn't leave now, not only would he have to bear the retaliation of the Wolf King, he would also have to bear the attack of the monk. If the two sides joined forces and fought 3 against 1, it would be troublesome. This was the plan that Zichen had made long ago. He would work with the monk to kill the Wolf King. However, he said that there would only be 1 Wolf King, but he was prepared for 2 to appear at the same time. After that, Zhong Haotian hid peacefully and didn't try to attack anymore. The Wolf King that he attacked didn't have any abnormalities at first, but as time passed, Its speed became slower and slower. In the end, the monk seized the opportunity and chopped its neck with his palm, breaking its neck instantly. Although its neck was broken, the Wolf King didn't die. It was still struggling, but the Insect King's poison finally took effect and caused the Wolf King to fall to the ground. With one Wolf King dead, the other Wolf King saw that the situation wasn't good and let out a long howl. The silver wolves in the distance immediately retreated, wanting to protect the Wolf King as it retreated. A strong wind whistled past and the monk flashed in front of the Wolf King and punched. The Wolf King was sent flying. Just as it was sent flying, the hidden Zhong Haotian appeared again. He predicted the Wolf King's path in advance. With a pu sound, the Wolf King's wound was attacked again. When its body fell to the ground, Zhong Haotian's figure had already disappeared. The Wolf King staggered back, no longer having the will to fight. The monk who had lost his mind quickly chased after it and attacked continuously. In the distance, Zichen gestured for everyone to slow down and let the silver wolves reach the monk. As expected, when the silver wolves arrived, the second Wolf King was already killed by the monk. The monk turned his head and looked at the approaching wolves. There was only killing intent in his eyes. At this moment, he had already lost his mind. There was fear in the eyes of the wolves, but more of it was anger. They roared and charged forward, biting the monk. Boom! The evil intent black chi around the monk exploded, forming a powerful shockwave that sent the nearby silver wolves flying. The silver wolves that landed on the ground finally felt fear and started to escape. Their last bit of courage was gone. The monk chased after them, but the silver wolves scattered and the monk couldn't kill all of them. Seeing this, Zichen gestured for everyone to pursue the silver wolf. This battle could be considered a complete victory. The crowd chased after him one after another, but they deliberately avoided the monk's location. Only Zichen and Su Mengyaro were left in the field. "Monk!" Zichen shouted. The monk heard the noise and turned around. His attention was attracted by Zichen. Zichen said, "The battle is over. You can come back now." Tyrant gave up on the silver wolf and walked towards Zichen. His pace was not fast, and as he moved forward, there were 50 streams of black chi circulating around his body. Not only did he not restrain his power, but he was also condensing it. Just as he was about to reach Zichen, his aura became even more tyrannical. The 51st force appeared. When Zichen saw this, he was a little surprised. "You can break through like this? It seems that you have to refine less crystals in the future, so as to prevent your realm from rising too quickly." He waved at the monk and shouted, "Monk, wake up quickly." Tyrant suddenly stopped, and the coldness in his black eyes became even more intense. The sand on the ground splashed, and a deep footprint appeared. Tyrant was like a black meteorite, charging towards Zichen. At this moment, his aura was completely restrained. Obviously, he was going to use his strongest attack on Zichen. Suddenly, Zichen disappeared from his sight. Tyrant lost his target, and there was a touch of astonishment in his cold eyes. His power was surging, but there was nowhere to release it. After losing his target, he saw Su Mengyaro in another direction, so he threw a punch without hesitation. Bang! This punch hit Su Mengyaro, breaking her body into pieces like porcelain. The enemy was eliminated, and Tyrant, who had lost his target, was at a loss. At this moment, there was nothing in his sight, and the surroundings were empty. The others were gone, and so was the silver wolf. Even the corpse from before was gone. He did not understand what was going on. Suddenly, he felt danger coming from behind him. He turned around abruptly and vaguely saw a silhouette disappear. He mobilized all the power in his body and guarded his surroundings. The next moment, he immediately turned around and threw a punch. He seemed to have hit something, but it also seemed like an illusion. Tyrant did not know what was going on. At this moment, a blooming flower suddenly appeared in front of him, and in the middle of the flower, there was a human face. It was the existence that had provoked him earlier. Tyrant did not know why, but he felt that the other party was very detestable, so he threw a punch without hesitation. In an instant, the human face shattered. The moment the human face shattered, there was a bang behind Tyrant. The next moment, Tyrant's vision turned black, and he fell to the ground. Everything returned to normal. Zi Chen stood behind Tyrant, and Su Mengyaro stood on the other side. Her aura was very weak. Rubbing his chest, Zi Chen said unhappily, "You're really ruthless." Previously, he was hit by a punch. If his body was not strong enough and he dodged in time, he would have been killed by Tyrant's punch. Zhong Haotian appeared beside Tyrant, and he glanced at him. "Is this okay?" Sensing the power of evil gradually dissipating from Tyrant's body, Zi Chen said, "It should be fine. Let's take these trophies and the Wolf King's corpse first. The commotion earlier was too big, so we can't stay here any longer." Zi Chen looked into the distance and said, "Get everyone to come back." Soon, everyone returned one by one, and they also brought back their trophies. This time, with Su Mengyaro and Tyrant, the two major killing forces, they had won a great victory. Finally, when they were counting the trophies, Tyrant woke up faintly. He still felt pain at the back of his neck. He did not ask what was going on, and he did not even try to guess. Zi Chen also did not intend to answer him. It was better to have less conversation about this because no one knew if the evil spirit would remember the conversation and come up with a countermeasure. "How's the harvest?" Tyrant asked. "We got a total of 113 crystals from the Silver Wolves, and 2 crystals from the Silver Wolf King." Pei Wenyaro counted the numbers. During the battle, his combat strength was almost negligible. However, he took advantage of the fact that the Silver Wolves were under Su Mengyao's illusion and killed 2 of them in the early stage. He was now mainly responsible for everyone's logistics work, and he was willing to work hard without complaint. Tyrant nodded and said, "Not bad." Zi Chen said, "Zhong Haotian and Su Mengyaro will each have 1 crystal from the Silver Wolves, and will divide the rest equally." No one had any objections, including Tyrant. Chapter 46-55. There was no problem with Zi Chen's allocation. The strongest person in the team was Monk. However, Monk could not be too strong or he would lose control. Next up were Su Mengyaro and Zhong Haotian. Su Mengyaro was of great help to everyone after she obtained her phantom. Otherwise, Zi Chen would not dare to bring everyone to kill the Silver Wolves. Zhong Haotian was good at hiding and assassination. He was most suitable for gathering information. His killing ability was also very strong. He could even work together with the monk to kill an existence like the Wolf King. In fact, Zi Chen was also very suitable. Because once he refined the Wolf King's crystal and awakened his ability, the entire team's combat power would increase by another level. After all, although Zi Chen had not awakened his ability, he could still kill the Silver Wolves one-on-one. Unfortunately, Zi Chen did not have confidence in himself and chose the safest method. "I don't want it," Su Mengyaro said, "You refine it." Zi Chen said, "It's hard to predict life and death here. So we have to choose the safest method and increase our strength as soon as possible. It would be best if we could reach the formation realm." Everyone, including Pei Wenyaro, finished distributing the Silver Wolf crystal. The majority was given to Zi Chen, who had not awakened his ability. Zi Chen did not refuse. "Where are we going now?" Zhong Haotian asked after putting away the crystal. "That direction." Zi Chen glanced to the side. That was the west. When Dan Xiong was chatting with him, she inadvertently looked in that direction. She seemed to be giving directions. Everyone walked towards the west. During this time, they did not try to go deeper. Pale Fragrance had also said that there were many opportunities outside. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Gaduan sat on a chair in the middle of the castle hall. Behind him, there were beautiful maids waving wide palm leaf fans. A fox stood upright and reported what had happened recently. From big to small. The fox said respectfully, "We have communicated with several powerful humans, but they are not willing to cooperate with us. If they don't cooperate, then kill them." Gaduan King said without a care, "We have already arranged to begin the encirclement. Some of them have escaped to the territory of the spirit demons." Fox said awkwardly, "Those spirit demons are very troublesome. I'm afraid the Ji Shan people won't be able to take advantage of them. Go and tell them to quickly hand over the person. Otherwise, don't blame me for personally coming." Gaduan King gave a cold snort, ignoring them all these years, allowing these spiritual monsters to grow. It seems that they have forgotten who is the master of this place. What else is there? Fox said, according to the king's orders, we've cleaned up those humans. Some of them are already dead, and some of them have escaped to the periphery. Should we continue to pursue them? Let's slow down first. If we kill everyone, our plan won't work. Those who are still alive should have some skills. Let them live for a while, and then act according to the plan. Gaduan King said after thinking for a while. There's another piece of news. The wolf leader just sent news that 2 of its subordinates were killed. Oh, 2 subordinates, this is interesting. Gaduan King's lips curled into a smile. In the area ruled by Gaduan King, there was only one wolf leader. There were countless Shan silver wolves, but those who could be recognized as subordinates by the wolf leader were the kings of small groups. The wolf leader reported that it was done by the encirclement humans. Last time, they were lucky enough to escape into the Sea of Flowers. As a result, they became very strong after coming out. Hearing the fox's words, Gaduan King's eyes had a touch of killing intent. It must be that bitch Lavender. Last time, I gave her face but she didn't want it. This time, she dared to ruin my plans. It seems that there's no need to keep her alive. Feeling the king's killing intent, Fox continued to submissively say, the wolf leader also said that there were several women among those humans. Oh, that's interesting. In that case, send a few Shan people to take a look. If they can be used, let's try it out on them first. Yes, King. After all the reports were finished, Fox turned and left to deal with these matters. Fox was equivalent to the steward of this castle. He had great authority, so after leaving, he arranged for 3 Shan people to go out. Asterisk 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 Zi Chen and the others walked all the way to the west. They were not in a hurry, so when they were moving forward, they would refine the crystals and strive to continue to improve their strength. During this time, the silver wolves did not chase after them again. After all, they did not kill all of them last time. They should be looking for reinforcements. This made Zi Chen's plan to improve while walking fell through. Fortunately, the crystals he obtained last time could still be refined for some time. Everyone walked on a tall grassland. The wind rustled as it blew. The footsteps of the Shan people were covered by the wind until they appeared in Zi Chen's perception. Zi Chen was slightly stunned. Human? When the others saw Zi Chen stop whispering, they were a little puzzled. Zi Chen looked ahead. The grass was undulating, and there was a very faint green light in his field of vision. It was incompatible with the grass. It was a bamboo stick. What's that? The others also noticed it, but they did not see the person. The Shan people kept moving forward and finally appeared in everyone's field of vision. Looking at the ugly but human-like Shan people, they were all startled. Is this the human of this world? This was the first time they saw another human, so they were more or less happy. After this ugly human appeared, his eyes were fixed on Su Mengyaro and the other girls. There was a strange light in his eyes, and there was saliva dripping from the corner of his mouth. No, he's a Shan person. Zi Chen suddenly exclaimed. He remembered what Dan Xiong said before. Although the Shan people looked like humans, they were not real humans. They were the subordinates of the Gaduan king. They were very strong and cruel. At the same time, Dan Xiong told them that once they found a Shan person, they should either run away or kill them. If they could not escape or kill them, they should immediately kill their female companions. Remember, kill your female companions first and then kill yourself. Xian retreat quickly, Zi Chen shouted. At the same time, he rushed forward. Girls, retreat. Everyone else, get ready for battle. Zhong Haotian went into hiding. Tyrant walked forward. He was ready to mobilize his evil thoughts at any time. Zi Chen was the first to rush forward. He punched towards the Shan person. The wind whistled. Even if he did not awaken his ability, this punch was still very terrifying. A trace of coldness flashed in the Shan person's eyes. He also punched out. 99 rays of light flowed out from his body. A lighter ray appeared under his feet. It was the formation realm. It was the same realm as the Wolf King. Bang! With a huge tremor, a ripple spread out in all directions. The nearby grass was all cut off and blown away by the strong wind, falling into the distance. Zichen's body slid backward, leaving 2 marks on the ground. The arm that he used to punch dropped down. His arm was shattered. Was this the power of the formation realm? Before Zichen could recover from his shock, a cry came from behind. The Ji Shan person had already jumped above his head. The Ji Shan person raised the bamboo stick in his hand and swung it down. What a fast speed! Chapter 46-56. The bamboo stick in the hand of the hillman released rays of light. This was a weapon from the bamboo house, which was exclusive to the hillman. It seemed that Zichen could not avoid this attack. At this moment, the hillman saw the human disappear from his sight. A hint of confusion appeared in his eyes, but he did not retract his attack. He was still attacking. At a close distance, his bamboo stick hit the ground. With a loud bang, the airwaves rolled. A huge crack appeared under the hillman's feet. At the end of the crack, Zichen's face was pale. He coughed out a mouthful of blood. Not far away, Su Mengyao also coughed out blood. The blue and white flower flew back in front of her. In just a short attack, the illusion was broken and Zichen was seriously injured. The monk shouted and rushed forward. During this time, he also signaled the others to retreat so that they would not be injured by accident. 53 rays of light appeared around him. The light formation extended from his feet. The monk, who was covered in black energy, faced the hillman. He blocked the hillman's stick. Then, he punched the hillman's ugly face, causing the hillman to lean back a few steps. Then, the monk closed in and punched the same spot several times, trying to maximize the damage. When the hillman was retreating, the light around him became unstable. Suddenly, he raised the bamboo stick in his hand. The monk's body was lifted up. The hillman jumped up and kicked the monk's chest. With a bang, the monk flew backward, drawing a line of blood in the air. After landing, the black light on the monk's body disappeared. The evil thoughts were forcefully dispersed. The monk tried to activate the evil thoughts, but he kept coughing out blood. At this moment, Zhong Haotian's figure suddenly appeared. The moment the hillman kicked the monk and landed on the ground, Zhong Haotian launched an attack. The timing was still accurate. Puff! The bone spur pierced the hillman's eyes. The hillman exploded in pain. The powerful force sent Zhong Haotian flying. He landed on the ground and spat out blood. The bone spur was still in the hillman's eyes. The hillman covered his eyes in pain and let out a strange cry. Blood flowed out from the gaps between his fingers. Die! The devil ape leaped forward and swung its bone knife at the other's neck. However, it only left a small wound. Wang Xian, who should have retreated, suddenly closed in and stabbed her sword into the other party's chest. Even though the sword had pierced through his skin, the wound wasn't deep. The others approached and attacked the Grahan. The long sticks in the hands of the Grahan people danced in the air. Once they hit someone, they would be severely injured. Retreat quickly, Zichen shouted. With his right hand broken, he rushed forward with the saber in his left hand and cut into the monster ape's wound. The bone knife was stuck in the neck of the Gushan man. The bamboo stick in the Grashan's hand also fell on Zichen's chest. With a bang, the sound of bones breaking rang out. Zichen, who had fallen to the ground, was already motionless. Bastard! Zhong Haotian staggered to his feet and disappeared again. In the next moment, he appeared in front of the Grashman. He reached out and patted the bone sword left behind by Zichen. The power of poison entered the Grashman's body through the bone sword. Once again, Zhong Haotian was sent flying by the powerful force. This Grahan was the same as the 2 wolf kings they encountered last time. They were both in the formation realm. Even the light of strength was the same. However, the difference in strength between the 2 parties was huge. Last time, not only did they easily kill the 2 wolf kings, they also killed a group of silver wolves. However, this time, it was very difficult to deal with one Grahan even when everyone in the team worked together. Yu Ming didn't manage to devour the soul of the Grahan. Under the attack of the Grahan, his head was sent flying. The power of Haifeng didn't manage to cut open the Grashan's body. However, it pushed Zi Chen's bone sword a little deeper. Lin Shui, brilliant, and the rest were sent flying. Pei Wenyao had already fainted before this. In this battle, everyone fought extremely bitterly. Fortunately, the poison also worked. The Grashan's speed was slowed down. Tyrant activated the power of evil again and ran directly toward the Grahan. He quickly arrived in front of the Grahan. After taking another hit from the Grahan, he channeled all the power in his body into the bone sword that was deeply cut into the Grashan's neck. Fart! The bone sword successfully pierced through the Grashan's neck. A human head flew high into the air. The powerful force that shook the surroundings disappeared. Countless dancing weeds fell down. Without its head, the Grahan was finally dead. As for this team, everyone was seriously injured. It could be said to be a Pyrrhic victory. The gravel was brought up by the strong wind and kept slapping Zi Chen's face. The unconscious Zi Chen woke up and saw the headless corpse falling down. He forced himself to be alert and said, "Retreat quickly." Now that everyone was seriously injured, not to mention another Grahan, even if a few silver wolves came, they wouldn't be able to deal with them. Xing Chen quickly stepped forward and took out the bone sword to cut open the Grashan's body. However, he was surprised to find that there was no crystal in the Grashan's body. He was slightly stunned and said, "There's no crystal. Forget it. Let's leave this place first," Zi Chen said again. He went forward and helped Tyrant up. Or rather, the two of them were supporting each other. Tyrant's evil thoughts were dispelled again. He was still normal now. It's really tragic. How many years has it been since I've been so miserable? What kind of world is this? Tyrant mumbled weakly. Xing Chen went to help Zhong Haotian up. Not far away, the devil ape picked up the bamboo stick. The group began to move west. This time, it was impossible for them to speed up even if they wanted to. Not long after they left, two more Grahan came. They looked at the messy battlefield and then looked at the dead bodies of their companions. They made strange sounds. They should be communicating with each other. Then, they spread out and looked around for something. Soon, one of them called out to the other. It turned out that they had found the bloodstains on the ground. Then, the two Grahan followed the bloodstains on the ground and chased after Zi Chen and the others. Zi Chen and the others gradually increased their speed. Because everyone had lost their ability to fight, they could no longer encounter any danger. Soon, they saw a large forest in front of them. Zi Chen glanced at Su Mengyao. Su Mengyao's illusion was instantly broken, and she suffered a lot of backlash. At the moment, she was very weak, and she nodded slightly at Zi Chen. Zi Chen said, "Enter the forest immediately." The forest was very dense. They might be able to get rid of the potential danger, but there might also be a greater danger. However, at the moment, they could only take a gamble. Moreover, with Su Mengyao's nod, their chances of survival should be greater than the danger. Just as they entered the forest, they saw that the original trees had branches drooping down continuously, as if spirit snakes were slithering around. Chapter 46-57. The forest was quiet. There were no birds, beasts, or insects. It was so quiet that it was deadly silent. Similarly, they did not encounter any danger here. The journey was not short, and everyone's condition was getting worse. Zi Chen could only ask everyone to stop and heal first. If they continued like this, they would not be able to hold on before the enemy arrived. He and Xing Chen were in charge of guarding, and the others immediately took out the crystals to recover. Suddenly, a human face appeared on a big tree not far away. The face looked at the group of people in front of it. Zi Chen seemed to feel something. He turned his head, but he did not see anything. The face had disappeared and did not appear again. Time passed, and everything was normal. The big movement before did not attract the silver wolves, and no grid hillman came. Zi Chen and Xing Chen still did not let down their guard. Everyone's injuries were gradually recovering. Zhong Haotian opened his eyes and looked at the two of them. "You guys recover first." His injuries had not fully recovered, but his condition was much better than before. Zi Chen shook his head and said, "Don't worry. You should fully recover first." This time, They had paid a great price to fight the Grid Hillmen. Fortunately, there were no casualties. It was a blessing in disguise. After hesitating, the 2 Grid Hillmen outside walked in resolutely. They held different bamboo weapons in their hands and followed the aura. The branches around them began to move, as if countless spiritual snakes were watching the 2 of them. The aura left by Zi Chen and the others was still there. The 2 of them followed them. After walking for a long time, they did not see Zi Chen and the others. They were sure that they did not go in the wrong direction, but why did they not see anyone? Zhong Haotian and the others were in charge of monitoring the surroundings. It was Zi Chen and Xing Chen's turn to heal. Zi Chen was not in a good mood. He still had not awakened his ability, but the enemies were getting stronger and stronger. After coming here, they had encountered danger several times. Every time, it was dangerous. This strange world did not seem dangerous, but he had almost lost his life several times. His invincible talent could not be displayed after coming to this world. Not only did he become the most ordinary one, but he was also the last one. Everyone had awakened their abilities, and some had even awakened more than one ability. Why couldn't he awaken his own ability? At this moment, Zi Chen's heart was filled with an intense thirst for power. Asterisk 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 in the Saint Spirit world, after the major forces left, it became quiet. The fiend gods still existed, but they no longer invaded. Logically speaking, the main forces of the major forces had all left. This was the best time for them to attack, but they didn't. The god race and the demon race became very quiet. The one in charge of the Holy Thunder Clan was Lei Zheng, and he didn't give any instructions. He didn't even plan to recover the lost land. The martial heaven continent was still calm, but the cities grew more and more lively. Everyone knew that the experts of this world had left, but the strongest expert, Zi Chen, was still here. So they weren't worried. Moreover, Zi Chen would appear from time to time, which was even more reassuring. Xiao Lina was still the manager of this world, and the entire world was under her management in an orderly manner. In the Zi Chen Palace, the hall spirit, Su, was in a daze. She didn't need to cultivate, and she wasn't worried about her own strength. As long as the Zi Chen Palace wasn't destroyed, she wouldn't die. Other than being in a daze, she would be in a daze every day. In the past, she was very conflicted about Zi Chen's current situation. But in the end, she couldn't be bothered to care about it. If the Saint Zi Chen back then had really arranged everything, including her own resurrection, then everything would go according to the plan, and she wouldn't need to do anything. At the same time, the most important thing was that she didn't know how to help, so she could only wait for the situation to develop quietly. On this day, she suddenly felt that there was a strange movement in the Zi Chen Palace, and her expression couldn't help but change. She was the hall spirit of the Zi Chen Palace, and apart from Zi Chen, she was the master of the Zi Chen Palace. In other words, she understood this palace even better than Zi Chen. Putting aside the saint from back then, just in terms of control over the Zi Chen Palace, even the current Zi Chen couldn't compare to her. She came in the direction of the strange movement, and after discovering what it was, her expression changed. She didn't know what was going on, but after thinking about it, she felt that she should do something. As such, she used the spirit core that Zi Chen had left behind and came to the demon-suppressing sect. Apart from Chung Ho, the other ancient saints were all here, including the Ice Maiden. The passageway to the other world was still there and hadn't disappeared yet. "Why are you here?" The Ice Maiden looked at the hall spirit. They knew each other. "To find you." Asterisk 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 asterisk. This forest was very quiet and safe, and Zi Chen and the others hadn't encountered any danger yet. This place gave them a very good place to recuperate, and everyone's injuries were gradually recovering. After experiencing a battle where they almost died, everyone's cultivation had improved greatly. The power around Zhong Haotian's body had already reached 49 strands, and he was only a step away from the formation realm. The others also reached 40 strands one after another. It was impossible to calculate the exact time here, but according to Zi Chen's estimation, it should have been 6 days since they came to this forest. His broken bones had already healed, and he would occasionally feel waves of pain, but he believed that he would recover soon. Su Mengyaro and Xian brought back some fruits from the trees, and they had been eating these fruits to satisfy their hunger for the past few days. No mountain man chased after them, and no silver wolf came here. Most of the crystals on everyone's bodies had been refined, and there weren't many left. There were no other crystals here to replenish, so they were all very idle. Another 2 days passed, and Zichen's injuries had completely recovered. He was the last to recover, and now everyone's crystals were all used up. After discussing, everyone decided to leave this quiet forest to search for new opportunities. However, they didn't take the original path, and instead walked deeper into the forest. They planned to cross this place, as there might be mountain man behind them. It was worth mentioning that after killing the mountain man with great difficulty, they didn't obtain the corresponding crystals. However, it wasn't that they didn't obtain anything, and the devil ape obtained a bamboo stick. This bamboo stick was extremely sturdy, and its hardness was much higher than the wolf bone. It should be a weapon from the bamboo house. It was now the devil ape's weapon. As they moved forward, it was still very quiet, and they didn't encounter any danger until they saw a big tree. This big tree was extremely thick, and it was almost comparable to the tree of lightning of the Holy Thunder clan. Obviously, this should be an existence similar to the Tree King. Zichen seemed to have guessed the reason why this place was so quiet, and he signaled everyone to stay away from it. At the same time, Zichen bowed in the direction of the Tree King to express his gratitude. Chapter 46-58. Wang Xian'er's actions shocked everyone. The Tree King was obviously not ordinary. Why would she take the initiative to approach it? Zichen gestured for everyone not to panic. He followed Wang Xian'er and walked forward slowly. Perhaps, this was not a bad thing. Wang Xian'er came to the front of the Tree King and looked at it carefully. Deep in her heart, she felt a strong calling. Otherwise, she would not be so impulsive to approach it at this moment. The Tree King stood there. Its leaves were green and there was no movement. Xiana lifted her head and looked up. Through the gaps between the tree trunk and the leaves, she saw many fruits on the tree. The fruits were sparkling and looked like gems hanging on the tree trunk. However, those fruits were not what she wanted. They were not the source of the calling. She looked at the Tree King again. Zichen stood behind Xian'er and did not disturb her. The others stood at a distance and were very nervous. Suddenly, Wang Xian'er moved. She took a few steps forward and came to the front of the Tree King. Then, she stretched out her jade-like palm and placed it on the Tree King's body. This action made everyone's hearts jump to their throats. Wasn't this a great disrespect? Some people looked at Su Mengyaro secretly, trying to find some clues from her expression. Su Mengyaro was a human and not a god. She could not predict everything. At this moment, they saw Wang Xian'er using her sword will. Rays of sword aura flowed from her arm. She seemed to want to use her sword will to cut the Tree King's body. Zichen also became nervous. He did not know what Wang Xian'er was going to do. The sword will started to flow, and there was a faint sound of clanging. In such a quiet place, the sound was exceptionally loud and did not fit in with the surroundings. The trees close to the Tree King began to tremble. One branch after another extended out and swam in all directions. They were like spiritual snakes that were patrolling the area. They formed a circle and gradually shrunk. Zichen's expression changed again and again, but he did not disturb Wang Xian'er. She was not an impulsive person. There must be a deeper meaning behind her actions. Zichen gestured for everyone to step back immediately so that they would not be in danger. The extended branches intertwined with each other, forming thick python-like objects that began to approach the two of them. Zichen held his breath and was prepared to forcefully take Wang Xian'er away at any moment. At this moment, there was a sudden tremor in front of them. At the place where Wang Xian'er's palm touched, a ray of light shone out. An intense sword intent surged within this light. That bright light made Zichen close his eyes involuntarily. The combined branches stopped, and then the part that looked like the head of a python raised up and looked at the scene in front of it. Amidst the boundless light, an item appeared in Wang Xian'er's hand. It was a sword of light with an incomparably sharp sword intent. With the light sword in hand, The sword-intent power around her became extremely active, and a powerful aura was released from her body. Under this aura, all the pythons began to tremble, as if they could disperse at any time. Su Mengyaro turned around, and the aura on her body gradually retracted. The light sword in her hand also returned to its original state. It was a wooden sword, but it seemed to be made of water, and its surface was glowing with a glaze-like azure light. She glanced at the giant pythons and saw that all the giant pythons had dispersed in response, turning back into tree branches and scattering in all directions. These branches quickly retreated. Everything around them returned to its original state. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief, and a smile appeared on their faces. This was the second opportunity that everyone encountered after Su Mengyaro, and it was Wang Xian who obtained it. The strength of the team had undoubtedly increased. Indeed, faint fragrance did not lie. There were many opportunities outside. Thank you. Zi Chen cupped his fists and bowed to the Tree King again to express his gratitude. A man walked out from the front. This is her opportunity, and it's her luck that she obtained it. Little brother, you don't have to be so polite. Zi Chen thanked him twice in a row. The Tree King could no longer hide and had to show himself. I'm Zi Chen, and she's Wang Xian. Zi Chen took the initiative to introduce himself. He had received benefits from the Tree King, so he should at least let him know his name. Tree. This was the Tree King's name. It only had one word. Greetings, Lord Tree. Zi Chen cupped his fists again. Lord Zi Chen, you're too modest. Just call me Tree. The Tree also cupped his fists in return. His expression was very serious, and he did not seem to be joking. Then I'll take a step back and call you Mr. Tree. The Tree King had the power to suppress him. The other party was deliberately being modest, but he could not ignore it. It's been a long time since a human came here. It's fate that Mr. Zi Chen could come here. Why don't you stay here for a while? The Tree said. Zi Chen was in a difficult position. It's not safe outside now. Rather than taking risks, it's better to stay here for the time being. The Tree gently waved his hand, and fruits fell from the Tree King behind him. These fruits are not weaker than spirit crystals. They should be useful to you. If you stay here, you can take whatever you want. Zi Chen hurriedly waved his hand and refused. Mr. Tree, no, I don't deserve it. The Tree smiled and said, if that's the case, why don't I trouble Mr. Zi Chen to do me a favor? Just take these fruits as a reward. Oh, what does Mr. Tree need me to do? Zi Chen asked curiously. The smile on the Tree's face disappeared. I hope Mr. Zi Chen can help me kill Zhu Xian in the bamboo house before you leave. Zhu Xian? Looking at Zi Chen's puzzled face, the Tree explained, he's the owner of the bamboo house. He's now the dog of the Gaduan king. The bamboo stick in your friend's hand was provided by him for the Gushan people. Of course, I don't want you to go now. I want you to kill him before you leave. It's okay if you can't kill him, as long as you try your best. Why me? Zi Chen asked again. The Tree said, because you've thanked me twice, so I have to show myself. But you don't want to accept my gift, and I happen to have this wish, so I hope you can help me. Okay. Zi Chen nodded. Although I don't know if I can do it, I, Zi Chen, will do my best. But can I ask, what's the grudge between you two? In order to curry favor with the Gaduan king, he betrayed many of his friends. There was a touch of pain on the Tree's face, and I was lucky enough to survive the war. For many years, I've never forgotten those friends who protected me. If it weren't for them, Mentioning the sad things of the past again, the Tree found it difficult to calm down. After a while, he said, I've made a fool of myself. Chapter 46-59. In the outside world, after the first sweep, those who were lucky enough to survive began to move again after hiding for a period of time. It was unknown if it was because they had gone through life and death situations, but their progress was very fast. The light of power continued to grow, and their realms were also increasing. On a certain day, a mysterious team successfully killed the Deer King in the periphery. Following that, more existences comparable to the Deer King were killed and their crystals were taken away. The silver wolves not only attacked Zi Chen and the others, but also killed many people. As a result, after a new round of battle broke out, The people who were originally running away in a sorry state began to slaughter the silver wolves. Groups of silver wolves died. The silver wolf king was also killed. Under such circumstances, everyone had more crystals to increase their strength, so their realms also advanced by leaps and bounds. Many people successfully reached the formation realm, comparable to the former Deer King. Among them, there were also many famous existences. They obtained all kinds of opportunities, which greatly increased their combat strength. It was said that someone found a rootless flame in a mountain range. This flame seemed to have its own intelligence. After the other party obtained it by chance, he slaughtered a group of wolves with his own strength. Another person obtained a strange seed. This seed could instantly turn into a towering tree that could attack. Another person found a spirit vein in a river. After putting it away, it was like a long whip with terrifying power. Similar news like this continued to spread out. The strange world was very big, and there were many opportunities. It was impossible for any one person to occupy all of them. Asterisk 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 asterisk. In a field, a group of wolves suffered heavy casualties. The Wolf King, who had lost a leg, was leading dozens of defeated silver wolves and fleeing in a sorry state. A group of people chased behind, holding all kinds of ancient weapons in their hands. They shouted loudly and were very happy. At the back was Mo Yixian. He was also in a good mood. The last time he encountered the silver wolves, he had almost died. Fortunately, he had escaped disaster in the end. Now, it was time for them to take revenge. The team that was once scattered was once again formed, but the number of people was very serious. Moreover, only the demons were gathered. It was unknown whether Lei Yizheng, Hongtian, and the others were alive or dead. After all, at that time, everyone was facing life and death. No one cared about each other. Mo Yiyang was by his side. Mo Di, Mo Yang, and Dan Zhuo were all still alive. Is this how the world is? It's too boring. Mo Zhengtian shook his head and sighed. When he first arrived at this place, he had indeed felt a sense of danger. However, as he avoided the danger this time around, his rate of improvement skyrocketed, and he had already advanced to the formation realm. Not only him, but many others had also reached this level. But so what if he was shocked? He already felt bored. He had killed both the Deer King and the Wolf King. He had even killed a tiger on a mountain. That should have been a king as well. In his field of vision, the Wolf King and the fleeing silver wolves were caught and killed, and the crystals were taken out. What's the point of staying here? Mo Zhengtian said in boredom, do you want to find some fun to play with? Mo Yi trembled and asked, what fun? Mo Zhengtian said, in any case, when we leave this place, we will definitely be Saint Venerables. Furthermore, there are kings with 99 Dao powers here. Their battle prowess is not as good as ours. Our goal is to become Saint Venerables. What's the point of staying here? Mo Yi trembled and said, but the Saint Venerables who came here were not seen. Perhaps there are other secrets in the depths. We should try to explore them. Perhaps. But what does that have to do with us? Do you think with our strength, we can reach a higher level after we leave this place? Stop dreaming. There are only Saint Venerables in this world. There are no existences stronger than Saint Venerables. Mo Zhengtian said, there's almost no point in staying here, so let's find some fun. Think of a way to find Lei Yizheng Hongtian. I don't believe he's dead. After we find him, we can go find Zi Chen and kill him together. Mo Yi trembled and nodded. She did not have any objections. Mo Zhengtian did not believe that Lei Yizheng Hongtian was dead, and she did not believe that Zi Chen was dead either. What's that in front? Mo Yi Yang saw a small person appear in front of her. He held a weapon in his hand and was walking toward them. A human. Mo Zhengtian also saw this scene. There are humans in this world. But they are too ugly. Then, he laughed. Go and capture him. I want to ask him about the situation here. 3 people walked out. They were the ones who had killed Wolf King earlier. They had extraordinary combat strength and volunteered themselves. The 3 of them walked toward the small person. The small person held a bamboo blade in his hand. The 3 of them approached quickly. One of them shouted, "Kid, come with me. My master has something to ask you." The Grecian person laughed when he heard that. Saliva dripped from the corner of his mouth. In the next moment, he decisively swung his blade. The blade flashed 3 times, and the 3 formation realm cultivators' bodies were separated. In just one move, the 3 of them were killed. When Mo Zhengtian saw this scene from behind, his expression immediately changed. Even if the 3 of them were facing Wolf King, it would not be like this. Woman, after killing the 3 of them, the Grecian person walked forward. His eyes were fixed on Mo Yi Yang. His eyes were filled with greed and lust. Mo Yi, trembling, had a bad feeling in her heart. She immediately signaled Mo Yi Yang to retreat. At the same time, a few more demons rushed forward. "Don't be careless." Mo Yi trembled and shouted. Her eyes were fixed on the front. That small person gave her a strong sense of danger. Both sides began to fight. After the Grecian person killed another 2 people, his heart was pierced by a bone blade. He fell to the ground and died. Although the Grecian person was killed, there were a few people in the team who were injured. The strength displayed by the other party was much stronger than the Deer King. Moreover, both of them were in the same realm. "Master, there are no crystals." One of them shouted after cutting open the Grecian person's body. "No crystals? What kind of monster is that?" Just when Mo Zhengtian was slightly stunned, a few more Grecian people appeared in his field of vision. They were shouting about women and holding bamboo weapons as they moved forward. At this moment, the Grecian people here moved out. They headed toward the people of the 3 races who had grown up. Their target was the women. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Tree was very polite to Zi Chen. He did not put on the airs of a king at all. Perhaps it was because they were both men, but Zi Chen got along well with him. While chatting, Zi Chen learned that 2 Grecian people had followed them. However, they were now trapped by Tree. Only then did Zi Chen know that danger was so close to them. What's up with those Grecian people? Why are they so strong? After getting familiar with Tree, Zi Chen asked whenever he had a question. He did not hold back. Chapter 4660. The Grahan people were divided into different levels. The ones that Zi Chen and the others encountered were the weakest, but they still almost lost their lives. After hearing the Tree's words, Zi Chen gained a deeper understanding of this strange world. He also knew a little more about the dangers of this place. Next, there are kings, such as Gaduan King. Originally, there was only 1 king here, but as time passed, there were more kings here, and now there are 18 kings. This news made Zi Chen even more shocked. He did not expect there to be so many strong people here. Zi Chen, who had not awakened his ability, was under even more pressure. Protect your female companions. If you can't protect them, kill them first. Pale Fragrance had said something similar before, but she did not explain the reason. This time, Tree mentioned it again, so Zi Chen asked for the reason. Gaduan wants to use their bloodline, similar to how you humans carry on the family line, so that he can have a soul that belongs to your world, and then return to your world. This world is strange and curious to you, but to them, it's a cage. Everyone wants to leave this place. And in order to leave this place, they will do anything. Once the female companions fall into the hands of the Grahan people, they will become tools for them to cultivate their souls. They will live a life worse than death. Don't expect anyone to take pity on them. The 18 kings all think so. Once they succeed, they will leave. Pale Fragrance did not tell Zi Chen everything, but Tree did. He did not know if it was because of some misgivings or other reasons, but Tree did. Since they want to leave, why don't they just follow us? Why do they have to do this? Zi Chen was very puzzled. The door is already closed. No one can leave here, Tree said. Why don't they just follow us? Zi Chen said, we will definitely be able to leave. When the time comes, everyone can leave together. In our world, we welcome such existences. Tree shook his head, that is impossible. Even if the door is open, there will be people guarding it, and they will not be allowed to leave. It is even more impossible to climb over the wall and leave. What do you mean? Zi Chen still could not understand. tree looked into the distance and fell into silence. Zichen waited quietly. After a while, the tree said, "Have you ever heard of zoos?" Zichen was a little surprised. "It's to keep some animals in a garden and feed them. They don't let them suffer, but they don't let them leave either." Zichen nodded. He naturally understood this. In the world of mortals, they were unable to cultivate, so they were unable to fight against ferocious beasts in the wild. Therefore, they had probably never seen those large beasts in their entire lives. Thus, in some kingdoms, gardens would be built one after another, in which some ferocious beasts would be raised for the mortals to visit. Some of the hunting grounds of the royal family were also like this. Many people would catch some powerful beasts and bring them in. There would be people guarding outside, so they couldn't come out and could only live in that place. The Colosseum was similar. Only humans could enter and leave. Once those beasts left, they would be killed. Zichen seemed to understand what the tree meant. The tree pointed at its feet and said, "This place is like a zoo. Everything that lives here is like a domesticated animal. If you stay here, everyone will have a good life. But if you want to leave and take a look outside, it's very difficult. Or rather, it's impossible to go out at all." "Is it the rule?" "The rule doesn't allow you to leave." Zichen said, "The manager you mentioned is the rule of this place. It can easily distinguish the aura of both sides and know who can leave." "You can say that." The tree stretched out its finger and gently touched the ground. Not far away, 2 shining fruits fell from the tree king's branch. The monk, who had just finished refining the fruit's energy, opened his eyes and saw another fruit appear in front of him. He reached out to take it and swallowed it without hesitation. He closed his eyes and continued to cultivate. On the other side, Lin Shui also received a fruit. Although the tree had been chatting with Zichen, he had been paying attention to the situation on the other side. There were enough fruits. "All right, I won't disturb you. Do your best to refine them. There are enough fruits here." The tree stood up and signaled Zichen to continue cultivating. A fruit flew in front of him. He didn't ask Mr. Tree why it was so nice to them because it might be fate. Mai Ji was like this, Danxiang was like this, and Mr. Tree was probably like this too. One fruit after another was refined by Zichen. His strength increased a lot. It was a great improvement, but he still didn't awaken any abilities. This was also Zichen's biggest regret at the moment. Su Mengyaro was the second person in the team to reach the array realm. She was 1 step faster than Zhong Haotian, which was out of everyone's expectations. After breaking through, her illusory ability had naturally become stronger as well. Mr. Tree asked Su Mengyaro if she wanted to practice first. The 2 Gashan people were still trapped in this place. Su Mengyaro shook her head. She didn't need to use this method to increase her combat power. The forest was very quiet, so Zichen and the rest didn't know what was happening outside. They also didn't know that the Gushan people had officially moved out and started their plan. Zhong Haotian also broke through not long after. After obtaining 50 rays of strength, his methods became stronger. He went to look for the Gushan people, but he didn't find them to practice. Instead, he hid behind them for a while and followed them for a while before retreating. He had absolute confidence that he could kill a Gushan person. Mr. Tree had an unlimited supply of fruits, so everyone improved very quickly. Next, they broke through to the array realm one after another. Although no one knew what sort of benefits they would receive upon returning after breaking through to the formation realm, it was only natural that the higher the realm, the better. The blue-white flowers danced around Su Mengyaro. Su Mengyaro glanced at Zichen under the tree king and shook her head slightly. Most people had broken through, even Pei Wenyaro started to try to break through. However, Zichen still didn't awaken any abilities. He wasn't even in the most basic light realm. Zichen was also very anxious. Su Mengyaro could sense that his emotions were fluctuating greatly. After the Gushan people joined the battle, the people who came in suffered a lot. Those who were lucky enough to survive encountered the second inhumane siege. This time, it wasn't as simple as death, especially for those female cultivators. Zichen, who still didn't awaken any abilities, felt a little depressed as he watched his companions break through to the array realm one after another. After refining the fruit, he rejected the new fruit provided by Mr. Tree. Instead, he said, "Where are the Gushan people? I want to try." "You?" Mr. Tree was startled. Zichen hadn't awakened any abilities. How could he be a match for the Gushan people? "I'll try first. If there's danger, I'll retreat," Zichen said again. Mr. Tree, who could understand Zichen's feelings, nodded. However, Mr. Tree didn't know why Zichen was in such a situation. However, he firmly believed that Zichen wasn't an ordinary person. The fate that brought them together must be an extraordinary fate. Zichen walked outside. That was the direction where the Gushan people were. Not long after, a Gushan person appeared in Zichen's vision. The two Gushan people were originally together, but they were isolated by Mr. Tree. During this period, in order to ensure that the two of them wouldn't starve to death, Mr. Tree would provide some additional fruits, but they were all coincidental encounters. At this moment, when the listless Gushan person saw the human in his vision, the expression in his eyes finally changed. He held a bamboo blade in his hand and immediately charged at Zichen. Zichen looked at the approaching Gushan person with a cold expression. Even if he hadn't awakened any abilities, as long as he could kill the Gushan person, he wasn't a weakling. He slashed down with his blade. Zichen turned around and took a small step back. The bamboo blade brushed past his body. The Gushan person, who missed its attack, flipped the bamboo blade in its hand and slashed horizontally again. Its reaction was extremely fast. Zichen kept retreating and dodging the attack. He looked at the other party in surprise. This Gushan person was fast and wasn't stupid. After dodging several attacks again, Zichen found an opportunity and punched out. Bang! The Gushan person retreated as its footsteps became messy. Zichen was also forced to take a few steps back. However, he quickly stabilized his body. With a shift of his feet, he immediately approached the Gushan person and threw out another punch. This punch landed on the other party's wrist, causing the Gushan person's bamboo blade to drop. Zichen tapped his foot and the bamboo blade flew into the distance. Without the bamboo blade, the Gushan person was enraged. It began to clash head-on with Zichen. Muffled sounds came from the forest. Moments later, Zichen used the force to retreat and ran into the forest. The Gushan person chased after him, but soon, he couldn't see Zichen anymore. Tree's face appeared on a large tree. His expression changed, filled with shock. With just the strength of his body, Zichen was already able to resist the Gushan person. Even if he could only last for a short while, it was still impressive. In the next moment, Tree disappeared. When he returned, Zichen had already begun healing. Tree placed the bamboo blade on the ground. He was very satisfied with the bamboo rod that was taken away by the demon ape. Moreover, this bamboo weapon was indeed extraordinary. It was suitable for everyone. It seemed that no one in the team was suitable to use a saber. As the monk hadn't awakened the power of good, he didn't have the mood to fight for it. After recovering from his injuries, Zichen went to find the Gushan person who didn't have a weapon. After a round of fighting, he returned with injuries. In the following time, Zichen kept fighting the Gushan person. After gaining a certain understanding of the Gushan person's true combat strength, Zichen was also improving. This kind of improvement temporarily reduced the pressure of not having awakened abilities. However, there was still a long way to go before he could kill the other party. However, as long as he continued to improve, Zichen was confident. Tree, who had been watching the battle in the dark, was more and more surprised by Zichen's improvement. The outside world had already reached an extremely chaotic moment. After the Gushan person took action, everyone was in danger. Chapter 4661. The difference in strength between the two sides was too great. Therefore, if the Grey Hill people wanted to kill, they could easily slaughter all the humans who came here. Not to mention the holy spirits, even the holy venerables would be killed. The Grey Hill people were second only to the kings. They were considered to be standing at the peak of this world. Now, just some ordinary Grey Hill people walked out and killed everyone. Everyone had nowhere to run. Fortunately, this world was very kind to humans. There were rules that came from the sky and prevented the humans from dying. It was like a territory was drawn. After the humans escaped to this area, the Grey Hill people could not kill them. Even though the Grey Hill people were unwilling, they had no choice. The rules were greater than everything. However, these people did not feel good because most of the female companions who came with them were killed. They were living a life worse than death. Some people wanted to leave, but they could not find a way out. The Grey Hill people did not retreat. This situation might continue for a long time. Everyone felt humiliated, but there was nothing they could do. The Grey Hill people were too strong. This situation lasted for about 10 days. Then, the Grey Hill people retreated. Not long after, a fox that could walk upright and talk came to the periphery. Everyone, listen up. I represent the Gaduan king to recruit you. If you want to join us, you only need to contribute a woman. As long as you join us, the Gaduan king will guarantee that your realm will improve and reach the speech realm. If anyone can make a great contribution to the Gaduan king will help you break through again and reach the head realm. The fox's words shocked everyone in the periphery. One had to know that they only knew about the light realm and the formation realm. Even the powerful Grey Hill people were only in the formation realm. Then what were the speech realm and the head realm? Hearing those words, Mo Zhengtian sighed. It seems that I have underestimated this place. This place is much more advanced than I thought. Today, the fox that could talk had already surprised him. He did not expect that the fox would tell him about 2 more realms. Only by joining the Gaduan king's team can you reach a higher realm. Otherwise, the power of 99 formation realms will be the limit you can reach. Believe me, in terms of familiarity with the realms, I far surpass all of you. Not to mention you all, even the Saint Venerables among you are only at the speech realm at most. It is impossible for them to reach the head realm. Think about it carefully. After you understand, go and find me in the depths. Right, my name is Ji Song. If you want to become stronger, only I can help you. The fox turned around and left. What do you think? Looking at Fox's departing figure, Mo Zhengtian glanced at Mo Yizhen. The conditions are very generous, but handing over our own people is against the rules. We will lose people's hearts, Mo Yi said with a trembling voice. Mo Zhengtian smiled and said, then hand over the enemy, such as Zi Chen's female companions. Asterisk 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 Zi Chen was fighting against the Grahan who had lost his weapon. Their fists collided, and every strike was a solid attack. Every punch was deadly. Powerful energy scattered in all directions, bringing up countless fallen leaves. Zi Chen's punch landed on the Grahan, and the other party's body slid back 30 feet. Immediately after, the other party rushed forward and attacked Zi Chen, forcing him to retreat. The two sides exchanged blows. Although it was a life-and-death battle and was extremely dangerous, neither side could do anything to the other. Tree was still watching in the dark. This was Zi Chen's recent improvement. 15 minutes later, Zi Chen chose to retreat again. The Grahan was already covered in wounds. Zi Chen, who was also injured, staggered back to recuperate. The others looked at Zi Chen who had returned and did not say anything. Recently, Zi Chen had been fighting and did not speak much. As for the result, no one asked because they did not know how to say it. They were worried that it would be rubbing salt on the wound. The bamboo blade was still there, and no one took it. Tyrant stretched his back and stood up. He deliberately made some movements. A fruit fell and was caught by Zi Chen. He wanted to refine the chemotherapy. How's the battle situation? The monk walked towards Zi Chen, and a long-lost smile appeared on his face. I can only last for 15 minutes, Zi Chen was slightly startled, and then he said truthfully. That's not bad. The monk said, you can fight with the Grahan for so long without awakening your ability. You're not bad. By the way, do you really not have any awakened ability? Yes. Zi Chen nodded and asked in confusion, what's the matter? The others looked at the monk, not understanding why he would talk to Zi Chen at this time. Moreover, he deliberately pointed out this matter. It was obvious that Zi Chen was in a bad mood recently. Nothing, I just want you to take a look at this. Golden light appeared around the monk's body as if pure Buddhist power was lingering around him. This was kindness. The kindness of good and evil. The others' expressions changed. Did the monk awaken the ability of kindness? Everyone was naturally happy and understood why the monk was so relaxed. However, the monk was showing off in front of Chen at this time. Would it cause a blow to Chen's heart? Chen was stunned again. Did you awaken your kindness? Of course. It was awakened so easily. There was no difficulty at all. The monk patted his chest and said proudly, "Let me ask you, are you angry? Don't you think it's infuriating? Get lost." Chen rolled his eyes. This guy was too shameless. Haha, let me ask you, are you angry? It's so infuriating. You awakened so easily. The monk was very proud. After he was no longer depressed, he returned to his old self. The others were angry and amused. Previously, many of them were worried about the monk's mentality, but now it seemed that it was completely unnecessary. The first thing he did when he awakened was to show off to Chen. He did not care about Chen's feelings at all. It was obvious that he was deliberately infuriating him. The monk looked around proudly and saw the bamboo blade that no one touched. Well, I'm lacking a weapon recently. I think get lost. Find it yourself if you want. It's mine. Chen immediately got up and leaped into the air, grabbing the bamboo blade in his hand. TSK, stingy. The monk curled his lips and said, "Old tree, where is the other Gushan person? I'll go there to practice and teach him how to behave in the future." Mr. Tree was obviously stunned by the way he was addressed. However, he quickly reacted and pointed in a direction. "I say, you have to continue working hard. It's not your style to not awaken your ability for so long. But thinking about it, who in the world can be more outstanding than me?" Before leaving, the monk showed off proudly. Chen waved his hand impatiently and said, "Get lost if you want to leave. You talk too much nonsense." Haha. Tyrant laughed complacently as he left. There were not many opportunities for him to suppress Chen. Looking at the monk's proud face, Chen also laughed. After the monk's jesting, the others felt more relaxed. Feeling the change in everyone's mood, Chen said, "Don't worry about me. I've improved a lot recently. Although I haven't awakened my ability, it's not a problem to deal with a Gushan person in a one-on-one situation." Asterisk 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 asterisk. In another direction, there was an unusual team. They had close to 30 people. All of them were sitting cross-legged. The team was very neat and they were all dressed in the same way. At the very front, there was a person sitting there. He was obviously the leader. "If you want to join the Gushan king, you need a woman. Ichen, it seems like I'll have to sacrifice you this time." The man turned his head and smiled. "You won't refuse, right?" In another direction, a beautiful woman stood there. Her face was delicate. After hearing this, she said lightly, "Up to you. You're quite calm. Ever since I caught you, you've been very cooperative. You didn't escape even once. If it weren't for Chen, I wouldn't be willing to send a beauty like you to the Shan people. After all, you have some of our blood in you, don't you? It's a waste to let those Gushan people spoil you." The man sighed, "It's just that my hatred for Chen is as deep as the sea. So, I can only make the best use of a beauty like you. Brother Towering, what do you think of my suggestion? Give her to Song in exchange for our strength." It turned out that there was a man not far from the woman. Towering stood up and looked forward. "If it was me, I don't think I would do that." "Oh." The God Race man was surprised. "I'll use her to lure Chen out." Towering said, "The alliance that targeted Chen last time was too stupid. They were tricked by Chen and suffered a great loss." The God Race man said, "Although I vowed to kill Chen, compared to this, it's not bad to make a deal with the Gushan king. At least our battle strength can be improved a lot. This way, it'll be easier to kill Chen." Towering nodded. "It's not impossible, but," looking at the hesitant Towering, the God Race man asked, "But what?" Towering said, "You can try to kill two birds with one stone." When the two sides were talking, They didn't avoid Yiqian. But Yiqian was the same as before. She didn't express any opinions. It was as if what they were talking about had nothing to do with her. The God Race man immediately understood Towering's words and said, "You mean, let's deliberately release the news and lure Zichen out so that the Gushan king can deal with him?" Then the God Race man suddenly slapped his thigh. "Yes, Zichen tricked those people last time. This time, we can use the Gushan king to trick Zichen. Although we may miss the opportunity to kill him personally, it's still a great pleasure to watch him die. Oh, by the way, Zichen has some female companions. When they die, those female companions will be counted as our contribution. It seems that we have a chance to take a few steps forward." The more the God Race man thought about it, the more excited he became. Compared to just handing Yiqian over to the Gushan king, this was a great contribution. He was very satisfied with this proposal and immediately said, "In that case, let's release the news. Unless Zichen is dead, he will definitely show up. I don't believe that he will ignore the life and death of his fiancée." Chapter 4662. The monk appeared with a broad and thick knife. It was still a bamboo knife, but no one knew how it was made. He smiled and waved the bamboo knife in his hand, making the wind howl. He was uneasy and proud. "Hey, come and take a look. This is a top-notch weapon." After awakening the power of good and evil, the monk had become the monk of the past. Wherever he went, he would show off. As for that Ji Shanren, needless to say, he was killed by the monk. Zichen was still recuperating from his injuries. The others glanced at the monk and didn't even congratulate him. If they congratulated him, he would probably show off for a long time. The man from the God Race was called Shen Hong. The team he brought with him was definitely the elite of the elites of the God Race. For Ya Wei to join this team as a human, other than his feud with Zichen, it was mostly because of his own strength. Last time, when they tried to kill Zichen, Shen Hong was a bystander because Ya Wei predicted that they wouldn't succeed. In the end, he was right and those people suffered great losses. "Brother Ya Wei, who do you think is more suitable for this?" Shen Hong asked. "Of course it's you. That fox can speak human language. Obviously, it has human thinking and intelligence. It's still in the early stages and it needs to build a relationship of trust with everyone. Therefore, it shouldn't go back on its words." Ya Wei paused and said, "Also, if you show up at this time, it will bring both sides closer." Shen Hong nodded and agreed with Ya Wei. "But only you can go alone. Yiqian can't go because you want to use her to catch the big fish. It's not good to bring the bait over now. Also, the sooner you do this, the better. Who knows, those demons might use this method again. By then, we won't have any advantage. Alright, I'll go now." In order to show his sincerity, Shen Hong went alone. As for the others, they stayed here to monitor and control Yiqian. Yiqian stayed quietly with the team. She didn't try to escape because she knew it was useless. Ya Wei glanced at Yiqian and stood at the side. The two of them didn't talk at all. Shen Hong came to the depths and said that he wanted to see Ji Song. A fox actually had such a name. Ji Song personally came out to meet Shen Hong. Just as Yang Wei had said, Ji Song really needed to establish trust in the early stages. Shen Hong immediately told him the reason for his visit. Ji Song listened quietly. After a while, he asked, "What's your plan?" "Zichen has a lot of people on his side, and they're quite strong. We can release the news directly and agree to appear at a certain time. When the time comes, we can let Sir's subordinates lie in ambush and catch them all in one fell swoop." Shen Hong said, "As long as we kill Zichen, his female companion can stay and contribute to Sir's plan. I am from the God Race, so I have some attainments and research on the divine soul. Perhaps I can be of some help." Ji Song nodded, thinking that this was a good plan. Shen Hong continued, "However, there is a problem. Do you have enough subordinates?" "We have enough. Don't worry. Moreover, I will arrange for a Ji Shan person at the Yang realm to go over. Let alone one Zichen, even a group of Zichens would die, Ji Song said confidently. That's great. As for the news, I will arrange it. The conversation between both parties went smoothly. Just as Shen Hong left, Ji Song gave him 2 bamboo weapons. Clearly, he was very sincere. This made Shen Hong even more satisfied. After returning, he immediately sent people to spread the news. The news spread quickly. Mo Zhengtian and the others were the first to know. He was eating when he heard the news and threw the food in his hand away. D***, we were too late. Mo Zhengtian's face darkened. Who is that Shen Hong? Do you have any impression of him? Mo Yi shook her head. Last time, their people had caused a huge commotion. Those who wanted to kill Zichen had all come, including some from the god race. However, she had never heard of this name. Could it be a nobody? Mo Zhengtian frowned. I'm afraid not. Those who dare to scheme against Zichen shouldn't be nobodies, Mo Yi said. This is a little troublesome. They have grasped the best opportunity. This is our chance to become stronger. To be honest, even I want to kill him and replace him. After all, he has a trump card that can be used against Zichen. Of course, this was just a joke. They definitely couldn't make a move at this time. Mo Zhengtian said, get someone to keep an eye on him first. We will act according to the situation. Zichen and the others seemed to have come to a paradise. There were no conflicts here, but there were countless resources for them to grow. If this could continue, everyone would be happy to stay here. Until a piece of news came out. Tree told Zichen everything that had happened recently, including the part where he was involved. Shen Hong. This was an unfamiliar name. He had never heard of it. I'll go and kill him. Monk walked over. Lord Zeng's saber has been thirsting for it for a long time. When the others heard Tree's words, they understood why Yi Qian didn't meet up with them. She had been captured by Shen Hong. Everyone was furious, but they knew that they couldn't be rash. This was obviously a trap. Tree looked at the few women beside him and said, you guys better not be rash. It's best if you can think of a foolproof plan. Zichen stood up and said, Meng Yao, you guys stay here. We'll go and save Yi Qian. If it was any other time, Su Meng Yao would naturally nod and agree. She wouldn't go against Zichen. But today, she shook her head. This is meaningless. Let's not talk about the chances of you guys succeeding. If you fail, they will continue to force us out. When that time comes, do you think we should go or not? Instead of being passive, why don't we go all out from the start? Even if we fail, we will have a clear conscience. Sister is right. Wang Xian and the others nodded. Yi Qian was also their friend. Naturally, they had to save her. All right then, let's go together. Zichen said, I want to see what tricks Shen Hong is up to. Everyone was ready to move. Tree said, there's really nothing I can help you with. I'll give each of you a leaf. It can help you hide, but it won't last for long. As he spoke, leaves fell from above, one for each of them. Zichen thanked him and was about to leave. Suddenly, he thought of something and asked, what do the Yang realm and Head realm mean? Chapter 4663. After hearing what Zichen said, Tree's expression became a little strange. He said, if I'm not wrong, it should be the meaning of language and leader. Zichen still did not understand. Being able to speak means that you have the human language. And leader is a general term. For example, the leader of the Ji Shan people is far more powerful than the Ji Shan people. Zichen was slightly taken aback. So you're saying that these two realms are also literal? Back then, the light realm and the formation realm were actually literal meanings. The tree said, it should be the literal meaning, but it does represent an even greater power. So, once you meet them, you must be careful. Zichen nodded, and the group left. Before leaving, Zichen went to kill the last Ji Shan person. Even if he did not awaken any abilities, he still had powerful killing methods. After walking out of the forest, Zhong Haotian went out to gather information. Not long after, Zhong Haotian brought back news. Zichen did not expect so many things to happen in this period of time. Where's Shen Hong? Did you see him? Chen asked. Zhong Haotian shook his head to show that he did not see him, but he brought back news that the two sides were going to make a deal soon. The so-called deal was naturally to hand Chen over to the Shan people. Zhong Haotian continued to gather information, while the others stayed in place and waited for news. Pei Wenyaro came back with some information about Shen Hong. It was said that he had a very high status in the Shen clan. The reason he was targeting Chen was because Chen had killed his brother. Chen did not know where this feud started, but since the other side was here for revenge, he naturally had to accept it. Then, whether it was Pei Wenyaro or Zhong Haotian, they easily gathered more information. It was as if they were deliberately releasing it. So, not only did Chen know that this was a deliberate targeting, but everyone could also guess that this was a trap. A trap to target Chen. Asterisk 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 Neil. This time you go personally. Song went to find a Shan person in the speech realm. This was the person who had promised Shen Hong. The Grecian named Neil said, "It's not a problem to go there, but what's the point? Right now, the humans outside are waiting to watch the show. We are not monkeys, so why do we have to do this?" When one reached the speech realm, one would be able to speak. In fact, it wasn't just speaking. It also represented a higher level of wisdom. Song said, "Your Excellency's plan has encountered some problems, and you need the help of those humans. After all, we can't compare to those humans when it comes to understanding soul power." Neil said, "Then why don't we just capture them all? Why do we have to go through so much trouble?" Milord said that we must get those humans to help us willingly. Otherwise, there might be problems. Previously, it was called deterrence. Now, it's time to lure. The corners of Song's mouth curled up slightly as he said, "This is a great opportunity for us to win the hearts of the people. As long as we kill that guy called Chen in front of those spectators and promise some benefits to the others, this matter should be settled. The reason why I asked you to go over is just in case. I heard that Chen is a little strange. Asterisk 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 asterisk. As the news spread, the surviving humans in the periphery came out one by one. Some of them had even reached the place where the transaction was taking place a long time ago. This was no longer a secret. It was something that had been made public long ago. Everyone came here because they wanted to see how Chen would resolve the crisis this time. After all, everyone had personally experienced the strength of the Gushan people. They were inhumane and extremely cruel. Those who were still alive could be said to be the lucky ones. Everyone was looking forward to Chen creating another miracle. Otherwise, most of them would be unable to move an inch. If they couldn't find a way to leave, they would be unable to move an inch. This also meant that they were closer to death. When it was time for the transaction, Shen Hong finally appeared. This name was unfamiliar, but he dared to scheme against Chen. Clearly, he was extraordinary. At the same time, Chen also appeared in front of everyone. Cries of surprise came from the crowd. Previously, many people had seen the female companions besides Chen. Clearly, all of them were top-notch. This person called Chen was also one of them. It was said that she was Chen's fiancée. If Shen Hong was willing to give away such a beauty, it could be seen how deep the grudge between him and Chen was. Chen also saw Shen Hong. Unsurprisingly, this was an unfamiliar face. Chen was in the group. She was surrounded by those people. Although she wasn't tied up, it could be seen that she didn't have a choice. Chen's eyes gradually turned cold. It was fine to seek revenge on him, but not Chen. Therefore, in Chen's eyes, this person called Shen Hong was already a dead man. "Look, that's Yang Wei." At this moment, a low voice came from the side. Chen shifted his gaze and saw Yang Wei. Compared to Chen, who was in the middle of the group, Yang Wei was walking beside Shen Hong. At this moment, the two of them were chatting happily. It didn't seem like they were being threatened. This guy is chatting happily with Shen Hong. Could they be in cahoots? Xing Chen said indifferently. Could it be that this was set up by him? After all, only he knows about this relationship. Chen, who was originally cold, smiled after seeing Yang Wei. This should be set up by him. As for being in cahoots, it's not to the extent of it. Looks like we need to be alert. This group is very difficult to deal with. We definitely can't underestimate them. Yi Qian was a goddess. There was no need to talk about her talent. Yang Wei was also very impressive. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to become Zi Chen's biggest enemy. If it was an ordinary group, with the two of them working together, even if they couldn't kill everyone, it would still be easy for them to escape. However, Yang Wei had chosen to stay in the group and even watched as this trap was set up. This was enough to explain many things. This group was very strong. At the very least, the two of them couldn't fight against it. Zi Chen had absolute trust in Yang Wei. Asterisk 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 in the distance, people were moving. Shen Hong smiled coldly. Do you think Zi Chen is here? Yang Wei shook his head slightly. It's hard to say. However, as long as he's not dead, he should be here. Perhaps he's looking at us now, waiting for the right time to strike. Time? Does he have the guts to strike us? As long as he dares to come near, I'll kill Yi Qian first. Yang Wei smiled and didn't say anything. Everything will go according to plan. In front of Shen Hong, a group of Ji Shan people appeared. There were 10 of them. They had come according to the agreement. 10 Ji Shan people taking Yi Qian away didn't seem to be a big problem. In the distance, seeing that both parties were about to meet, Devil Ape was anxious. He asked, "What do we do now?" Xing Chen added, "If we let them meet up, we'll have to face even more enemies." Chapter 46-64. The reason why Zi Chen chose to take action at this time was because he saw Yang Wei and trusted him. Things were developing in a good direction. Although the situation was still a little bad, it was fortunate that the worst had not happened. A group of 13 people appeared just like that. As for Pei Wenyao, Zi Chen asked him to continue hiding or hide further away. It was not that he did not trust him, but he did not want him to take the risk. After all, his combat power was limited. Zi Chen's sudden appearance caused an uproar. Shen Hong also saw Zi Chen from afar. A smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. "Sure enough, you're here. I wonder if you have the guts to come over." Yang Wei's expression changed a little. After so many years, this was the first time he saw Zi Chen. In the past, he only saw Zi Chen through the crystal ball. Other than Zi Chen, Tyrant and the rest were all there. Almost everyone was here. After Zi Chen appeared, he did not look for trouble with Shen Hong. Instead, he went to look for the Gushan people. Kill the Gushan people first. Looking at the direction where Zi Chen and the rest were heading, Shen Hong laughed. Coward indeed. Then, he turned around and looked at Yi Qian. Seems like you're not that important in his heart. Yi Qian did not reply. She looked ahead and looked at everyone. They were finally gathered together again. The 13 people rushed towards the Gushan people. In terms of numbers, Zi Chen and the rest had the absolute advantage. This was a rare battle scene for Zi Chen. Usually, he was the one being ganged up on. There are 3 bamboo weapons. Looks like they are not weak. Shen Hong noticed the 3 bamboo weapons in Zi Chen's group. His expression changed a little. Now, the survivors knew that bamboo weapons were exclusive to the Gushan people. Zi Chen's group had 3 bamboo weapons, which meant that they had killed 3 Gushan people. If they could kill these Gushan people successfully, each of them would have one. The devil ape in the group suddenly sped up. He held a bamboo stick tightly in his hand and immediately swept it out. As a beam of light flashed by, the Ji Shan people who came into contact with him first were knocked back more than 10 steps. Then, the demon ape waved its long stick and charged toward the Grahan. Around his body, there were a total of 70 rays of light of power, and the formation diagram under his feet was particularly obvious. Another uproar broke out in the distance. Was he going to fight against 10 Ji Shan people by himself? At this moment, a furious roar resounded. Tyrant followed closely behind. How could he possibly give this opportunity to show off to the demonic ape? At the instant they got close, Tyrant activated 78 beams of power. Just this amount of power from the formation realm was enough to cause one to be extremely shocked. Amitabha, junior brother has improved a lot. Looks like you're with Zi Chen, junior brother. In the distance, a monk put his palms together. The other monks nodded in agreement. They were very pleased, but in the next moment, their expressions changed. The senior brother's words came to an abrupt halt. This was because the monk with the knife had attacked. Not only did he attack, but his mouth was not idle either. You bastard, why don't you pay your respects to your Lord Buddha? Where is your benevolence? Where's your etiquette? As the knife slashed down, a heavy force exploded. One of the Ji Shan people who blocked the attack with his weapon was sent flying. Tyrant took a step forward and immediately appeared in front of the second Ji Shan person. Didn't you ask about my glorious deeds before coming here? You don't even know how to be polite. You're really rushing to your death. Another slash came down. This Ji Shan person wanted to copy the previous one and block the monk's attack. Unexpectedly, the monk's blade suddenly changed its direction and swept past the Ji Shan person. Then, the blade turned and brushed past the Ji Shan person's neck. Fart. Blood spurted out as a human head flew high into the air. Tyrant instantly retreated and stood in the distance. You're not being considerate. It's fine if you die, but you still want to use your blood as a hidden weapon? Tyrant's mouth was not idle, but he was not nagging. Therefore, everyone heard him clearly. For a moment, many people looked to the side, as if they were asking the people from the Buddhist domain with their eyes, "Are you guys from the Buddhist domain?" The group of monks felt ashamed. There was nothing wrong with killing demons here, but junior brother, you're talking too much. It was really damaging to the image of Buddhism. Fortunately, they were also very good at maintaining their composure. All of them remained silent and acted as if they did not know Tyrant. A monk and a devil ape were able to block 10 Ji Shan people. Excluding Tyrant's nonsense, this combat strength was enough to move everyone. Seems like we can't underestimate them. Shen Hong let out a sigh. He had to admit that not only was Zi Chen impressive, even Zi Chen's friends were all extraordinary. Of course, none of Zi Chen's enemies were ordinary people. 10 Ji Shan people had joined forces to deal with Tyrant and Devil Ape. Now, 4 of them had died. It was only a matter of time before the remaining 6 died. Such combat strength was something that everyone yearned for. Zi Chen and the others were still walking at a leisurely pace. The battle would probably be over by the time they reached the battlefield. At this moment, another group of Ji Shan people appeared in their field of vision. This time, it was a small group of about 30 people and they were flying over. They were also holding bamboo weapons in their hands. Clearly, the Ji Shan people had come prepared. Zi Chen and the others finally arrived at the battlefield. Xing Chen quickly went forward and picked up a bamboo weapon that looked like a long spear. He waved it around in his hands and it was quite handy. Zi Chen looked at Su Mengyaro and said, "Don't be hasty. Take it slow." Su Mengyaro understood what Zi Chen meant and nodded her head. Su Mengyao's illusory techniques should be the biggest trump card of the group. Now that everyone was watching, they naturally had to be more cautious. Zi Chen looked ahead and saw that the Ji Shan people had increased their speed. They were filled with killing intent. Zi Chen's eyes turned cold bit by bit. Kill. With a loud roar, he dashed forward. Beside him, the others followed closely behind, their bodies lighting up one by one. Every one of them had more than 50 forces of strength and possessed the combat strength of the formation realm. Wang Xian who was moving forward, casually picked up a bamboo sword and temporarily used it as a weapon. She had not used the special sword that she had obtained previously. Everyone in the distance was envious. The bamboo weapons that were extremely precious in their eyes could be picked up at any time. Soon, everyone noticed a problem. Zi Chen's body did not light up. Why was that? Could it be that Zi Chen had not awakened his abilities yet? Some of them had such a guess. However, they did not dare to believe it. This was Zi Chen. How could he not have a breakthrough until now? At this moment, both parties met. Chapter 4665. The mountain man held a bamboo blade in his hand. This was the most commonly used weapon of the mountain man. The moment the two sides approached each other, the mountain man slashed down with his blade. Zichen's body went from moving to still. Then, he dodged to the side, causing the blade to miss. The next moment, the bamboo blade in Zichen's hand moved. Like a bolt of lightning, it slashed across the mountain man's neck. He did not have any abilities, but the bamboo blade was sharp enough to instantly cut open the mountain man's throat. After the slash, Zichen had already arrived behind the mountain man. Meanwhile, the Grange hillman who had missed its attack was standing there motionlessly with its hand on its neck. Blood kept flowing out of the wound. The mountain man died in one move. The exclamations from behind rose and fell again. No one had expected that Zichen, who had yet to awaken his abilities, would have such terrifying combat strength. That seemingly simple action was not easy to accomplish at all. That was because the mountain man was very fast, and the strength of that slash was also extremely strong. It was not something that ordinary people could dodge. If it was so easy, they would not have suffered such a heavy loss last time. Although Zichen had yet to awaken his abilities, his body's reaction had long caught up to those with abilities. It even far surpassed them. The second mountain man's attack arrived. It went straight for Zichen. Zichen tilted his body and dodged the other party's attack again. Then, the bamboo blade in his hand struck out for the second time. It was still in a critical position. But its neck was cut open. The wound was very deep, but its head did not fall off. This was because Zichen had yet to awaken his abilities, so the strength of this strike was not enough. If he had awakened his abilities, this strike would have beheaded it. Similarly, if it were not for the sharpness of the bamboo blade, Zichen would not have been able to kill a mountain man so easily. Beside him, Xingchen attacked. The spear-like weapon in his hand directly pierced into the mountain man's chest. On the other side, the hurricane around Black Wind sliced a Grig hillman apart. Netherworld had just devoured the soul of a mountain man. They had obtained great benefits from Mr. Tree and improved very quickly. Now was the time to verify the results. On a tree not far away, a human face appeared. It was Tree. He was also watching from afar. This was also the first time he had seen Zichen's friends display their true strength. However, he was still hiding something. At the very least, Wang Xian whom he thought highly of, had yet to use the sword of opportunity. In his entire life, he had only condensed a sword like that once. Only such an outstanding person would have such extraordinary friends. Tree looked at Zichen again, but he still couldn't believe that Zichen hadn't awakened his powers yet. Although his combat power was very strong, without awakened abilities in this world, he would still be limited. Why was it like this? The tree could not understand. Shenhong's face gradually turned gloomy. The methods that Zichen and his group had displayed were beyond his expectations. If it weren't for the Ji Shan people blocking them, he would have lost many of his subordinates. Moreover, in the end, both sides would definitely suffer. Therefore, Shenhong was very emotional. Fortunately, he had taken precautions in advance and discussed some details with Ji Song. Otherwise, it would be troublesome. Yi Qian looked at the battle with worry in her eyes. Since this was a trap, it wouldn't be so easy to break out of it. With these Ji Shan people dead, there might be more to come. Mo Zhengtian had also come. Looking at the battle from afar, his expression was not good. On one hand, it was because of Zichen. On the other hand, it was because of Shenhong. In fact, he was feeling very conflicted. He hoped that Zichen would win and not let Shenhong have an easy time. However, he also hoped that Zichen would die here. There were close to 30 Ji Shan people. For Zichen and his group of 13, it was just a matter of one person killing 3 of them. Therefore, after dividing up the work, the number of Ji Shan people decreased sharply. Neil, who was supposed to attack, was still watching from afar. He had no intention of joining in. Just as these 30 people were about to die, he waved his hand again. The Ji Shan people in the distance quickly came over. This time, there were close to 100 of them. With their appearance, the crowd behind was in an uproar. However, Shenhong frowned. It shouldn't be like this. Where was the promised Yang Jing? Chung Ho looked at Rat beside him and asked, Why don't you think that Yang Jing has made his move? There were many rats here. Moreover, the one in front of him was the Rat King. It wasn't difficult to find clues about Zi Chen. Chung Ho, who had escaped the pursuit previously, had turned back and stayed in the rat hole. He had only appeared today. Once he reaches the Yang Jing, he will be different from ordinary Ji Shan people. That guy hasn't made his move yet. It should be for a greater contribution. Rat said, think about it. How many Ji Shan people has Zi Chen killed so far? If he kills these Ji Shan people, it will be over 100. If the Yang Jing kills a powerful and threatening human, wouldn't that be a great contribution? Chung Ho smiled and said, that's true. When he makes his move, you will help me, right? Rat's face immediately turned bitter. There was a hint of panic in his eyes. My lord, please spare my life. How would we dare to attack the Ji Shan people? Unless we want to be exterminated. You rats are not good at other things. Breeding and digging holes are your skills. Who can exterminate you? Chung Ho laughed sarcastically. My lord, don't say that. The reason we exist is because of the kindness of King Geduan, not because we are powerful. Chung Ho seemed to want to say something. Suddenly, his face changed and looked somewhere. A fox appeared there. Rat also noticed the situation there. His face suddenly changed. It's Lord Ji Song. It's over. It's completely over. It seems that Zi Chen will definitely die. After saying that, Rat turned around and was about to run away. However, he was caught by Chung Ho. Where are you going? My lord, hurry up and run. If you don't run now, it will be too late. Rat shouted, that's Ji Song, the most powerful existence under King Geduan. Since he came personally, everything is settled. Watch. Chung Ho grabbed Rat and did not let go. His eyes were looking forward. This was the first time he saw Zi Chen's friends. They did not disappoint him. Each of them was extremely powerful. Su Mengyaro walked forward when she was faced with so many Mountain Ge people. The moment those Mountain Ge people approached her, she glanced at them. All the Ji Shan people were frozen in place, as if they were frozen in place. Then, more than a dozen Ji Shan people fell down. In just a glance, more than a dozen died. Then, Zi Chen and the others rushed forward and began to harvest the lives of the Ji Shan people like harvesting crops. Neil saw this scene from afar. There was a hint of surprise on his face. He then smiled and said, this is interesting. Chapter 4666. Neil was actually willing to wait a little longer. The strength of these people had exceeded his expectations. Hence, the later he killed them, the greater his contribution would be. However, since Ji Song was here, he had no choice but to appear. Otherwise, it would be troublesome to return. In order to appear more casual, Neil appeared and shouted loudly. His voice was heard before he appeared. When Ji Song saw this, the corner of his mouth twitched slightly with disdain. It was fine for the other party to play some tricks, but he had to do it well. Otherwise, punishment would be unavoidable. He didn't care about the death of some ordinary Grenels. However, he couldn't afford to fail this mission. Ji Song stood in the distance and watched quietly. As expected, Neil continued to play tricks and deliberately slowed down. Stop! He shouted loudly. However, under such circumstances, Zi Chen obviously wouldn't stop. Instead, he said in a deep voice, let's end this quickly. Shen Hong heaved a sigh of relief. The Yang state had finally appeared. This battle should be settled. He was actually very curious about the power of the Yang state. Now was the time to take a look. Because of his great contribution today, he would soon reach the Yang state. Ji Wei's expression didn't change much. However, deep in his eyes, there was a tinge of worry. He didn't know if Zi Chen could survive this. Yi Qian had been worried about everyone since the beginning. After seeing the Yang state, she blamed herself. She was still too weak and had implicated everyone. Damn it! Mo Zhengtian cursed under his breath. This was going to be troublesome. A huge benefit had been taken by Shen Hong alone. Mo Yi frowned. He couldn't solve this situation. The Yang state was approaching. Zi Chen and the rest didn't stop. They were still killing the Grenels even though the Yang state had shouted for them to stop twice. Neil was actually very satisfied. This was the way to go. He didn't hold back. There was still some time before he reached the Yang state. If he could kill all the remaining Grenels in this period of time, it would be best. As he moved forward, he realized that these people were quite cooperative. However, no matter how much Zi Chen and the others killed, it was impossible for them to kill all of the Gragshans. Therefore, when Neil approached, he shouted, "All of you, back off. You know that you can't win, yet you still want to die. Are you stupid?" In front of absolute power, the GRG Hillmen had the strictest hierarchy. Therefore, after hearing Neil's words, the GRG Hillmen immediately retreated. Neil walked forward and glanced at the corpses on the ground. Feeling satisfied, he said coldly, "How dare you? Didn't you hear me tell you to stop?" Zi Chen glanced at Neil before glancing to the sides and making brief eye contact with Su Mengyaro and the others. The 13 people in front of him were all holding bamboo weapons, ready to fight. "You humans are not weak," Neil said indifferently, "but you dared to kill my people. You're simply courting death." Zi Chen could not understand the other party. Instead of taking revenge, what was he talking about? Was he purposely giving him time to breathe? At the same time, Shen Hong was also a little anxious. What was going on with this Yang realm? However, since I'm here personally today, I'll give you a chance to choose. Neil changed the topic. "Give me all your female companions. Then, you all will submit to me and serve me from now on. Don't worry, I'll give you all the benefits." Shen Hong was stunned when he heard this. This was different from the plan. Was he trying to steal his credit? Mother **K, isn't this too shameless? Ge Song, who was behind, was also dissatisfied. How dare he make such a decision? Was he courting death? However, if he could really recruit them, it would not be a bad idea. Make a decision quickly, or die. Neil's eyes turned cold. He still had to do business. Zi Chen glanced at Su Mengyaro before running forward. He gripped the bamboo blade in his hand tightly, his eyes filled with cold killing intent. Xing Chen, Heifeng, Yu Ming, and the others also moved at this time. There was no verbal communication. Everything was done by tacit understanding. "You're all courting death." Neil was furious. These ant-like fellows dared to take the initiative to attack. At this time, a small blue and white flower flew toward him. In his anger, he waved his hand and slapped it. With a pop, the little pollen was crushed, and countless tiny petals scattered in the air. Neil laughed sarcastically. Insignificant skill. At this time, he realized that there was nothing in his field of vision. Where were they? Just as he was in a daze, he felt a sudden pain in his chest. A wooden spear had pierced his chest. His body was strong, and the spear did not penetrate too deeply. Just as he was still unable to understand what was going on, a sense of danger attacked him again. Those who had disappeared previously had all appeared. At the same time, several weapons appeared in his field of vision. They were all bamboo weapons. This made him extremely angry. A powerful aura erupted, and a huge and real light formation appeared under his feet. It was like a hurricane had risen out of thin air. Within the range of the light formation, powerful forces surged. The nearby weapons all changed directions, and those who were close to him were all sent flying. This was the true strength of the Yang state. With just a thought, he could force the formation state to retreat. Looking at those who were sent flying, Neil was ready to start a massacre. Everyone in the distance could feel the power of the Yang state. They were stunned. How was Zi Chen going to dodge such a situation? Wang Xian, who had not advanced, immediately moved forward when everyone was sent flying. A ray of light appeared in her palm. A sharp sword intent emerged, and a small gust of wind blew in the surroundings. Swoosh! Poof! The light and sound appeared at the same time. The sharp sword intent surged in the surroundings, bringing along countless withered grass. The ray of light that appeared in Wang Xian's palm penetrated Neil's body, drew an arc in front of him, and returned to Wang Xian's hand. It was a sword of light. The tree in the distance was extremely excited. Feeling the pain, Neil immediately retreated. At this moment, the anger on his face had already turned into horror. How could a mere formation state injure him? At this moment, Zhong Haotian appeared behind him. The bamboo blade in his hand pierced through the spot where Wang Xiana had pierced and then slashed. Boom! The careless Neil was enraged again. With a powerful vibration, Zhong Haotian was sent flying. But immediately after, the monk's blade landed on the same spot again. This was the result of Zi Chen's glance. They had been together for a long time, and there was no need for more words. Their gazes were a sign of cooperation. And they had a tacit understanding. Neil was at a disadvantage because of his carelessness. Boundless anger emerged from his heart. A powerful aura began to surge, containing boundless killing intent. But at this moment, Neil's expression suddenly changed. His entire face changed, and he coughed out a mouthful of blood. The blood was black. Chapter 46-67. After spitting out a mouthful of blood, Neil felt his body weakening. He had a bad feeling. He knew that he was poisoned, but when did this poison appear? Zhong Haotian's attack contained the poison ability of the Insect King. As his cultivation level increased, this poison ability naturally became more terrifying. Wang Xian attacked first to break through his defense. Zhong Haotian's subsequent attack was to better inject the poison into Neil's body. The monk's final attack was the icing on the cake. In this battle, the most important people were Su Mengyaro, Wang Xian and Zhong Haotian. You guys are courting death. Neil, who felt himself weakening, had a murderous look in his eyes. The aura of the Yang realm was even more oppressive. He pressed forward, and Zi Chen signaled for everyone to back off. After all, the other party was a Yang realm cultivator. There was dissatisfaction in Ji Song's eyes. This idiot had actually been tricked. Perhaps there would be a change in the situation. At the next moment, Ji Song was stunned. This was because that idiot didn't continue to attack. Instead, he turned and ran. Ji Song wanted to curse. This bastard was really unreliable. Zi Chen and the rest were also stunned. They thought that the other party still had some powerful moves. They didn't expect that it was just a bluff. His motive was to turn and run. However, the other party just moved a few dozen feet before he fell. He was dead. This powerful Yang realm cultivator had just appeared. He didn't even have the chance to display his strongest power, but he was killed just like that. The spectators outside the field were all dumbfounded. This change was too fast. The Yang realm cultivator just appeared and released his aura once before he was killed. The attacks of the others were so dazzling that they almost didn't see it clearly. They didn't know why the Yang realm cultivator fell for it. With the Yang realm cultivator dead, Zi Chen heaved a sigh of relief. The biggest enemy was eliminated, but the problem was not yet solved. Zi Chen turned around and looked at Shen Hong. I can give you a way to die. Shen Hong snorted and said, if you dare to kill me, I'll kill you first. He turned around and realized that Yi Chen was gone. He was stunned. The battle just now was so intense that everyone was a little distracted. They didn't expect Yi Chen to run away. No, with his people watching, Yi Chen couldn't have run. Bang! Bang! The two people closest to Yi Chen fell to the ground, dead. Only then did the other subordinates react. For a moment, they were all stunned. The sound of footsteps rang out at that moment. When Shen Hong turned around again, he saw Yarrow Wei bringing Yi Chen and walking towards Zi Chen. Yong Wei, you. Shen Hong looked at Yong Wei coldly. Yong Wei turned around and smiled. He said apologetically, I'm sorry. To me, profit is more important. In the face of absolute profit, hatred can be put aside. Your plan has failed, and I'm afraid it will be very troublesome to follow you. Now that I'm taking Yi Chen to Zi Chen, do you think I'm abandoning the dark for the light? Good. Very good. Shen Hong nodded, his tone cold. As expected of the cunning spirit race, your mind changes really quickly. I'll take that as a compliment, but you're too reserved. Can't you say more nice things? For example, I know how to adapt to circumstances. Yong Wei smiled faintly, then turned to Zi Chen and said, I, Yong Wei, am ashamed of Shen Hong's actions. I'm willing to abandon the dark for the light and join Zichen's team. I wonder if that's possible. Yong Wei, you despicable person. This idea came from you. Shen Hong said angrily. Do you think Zichen will want you? Stop dreaming. He'll chop off your head immediately. Yong Wei said unhappily. Shen Hong, you're not honest. This was obviously your idea. Shen Hong laughed out loud. You idiot. Yi Qian is there. She's still alive. How could she not know whose idea it was? Yi Qian said, that's right. It was Yong Wei's idea. Haha. Shen Hong was even more proud. Yong Wei, I'll see how you die now. The others were stunned. Was there going to be an internal conflict? However, that guy called Yong Wei was really shameless. He came up with such a bad idea and now he wanted to join Zichen. He was really asking for death. In everyone's opinion, Zichen would definitely kill the other party immediately. Who knew that Zichen would say, in our lives, we will always make many mistakes inadvertently. If we were to kill all of them, would there be anyone left in the world? Hence, I think that we should always give others a chance to correct their mistakes. As the saying goes, who doesn't make mistakes in life? To be able to correct one's mistakes is a great kindness. Just as everyone was stunned, Zichen said to Yong Wei, welcome to the team. Everyone was stunned. What kind of trick was this? Yong Wei immediately walked forward, completely unprepared. Some people thought that Zichen was stalling because Yi Qian was still in Yang Wei's hands. However, as long as Yi Qian was safe, it would be Yang Wei's time to die. However, when Yong Wei joined the team and Yi Qian hugged the other female companions, Zichen still did not make a move. Could it be that he really believed that Yong Wei could correct his mistakes? Mo Zhengtian said, this guy is raising a tiger to invite calamity. Mo Yi did not say anything. He felt that something was wrong, but he did not know what the problem was. He knew Zichen very well. He also knew that Zichen's way of doing things was different from normal people. Sometimes, he would not kill those who deserved to die. However, that kind of person definitely did not include people like Yong Wei. Zichen did not reminisce with Yong Wei. The others also pretended that they did not know Yong Wei. Yong Wei stood at the side and took the initiative to say, are we going to kill them now? He looked at Shen Hong. This made the other party even angrier. He could not wait to chop Yong Wei into pieces. Yes, they deserve to die. Zichen's eyes turned cold. The killing intent in his eyes was boundless. This made the others even more confused. Why did he not kill Yong Wei, the person who started all this? Why did he have such a strong killing intent towards Shen Hong? Zichen walked forward. When he moved, the others moved as well. You idiot. You are really hopeless. Shen Hong looked at Zichen and said coldly, Yong Wei is waiting for both of us to be injured. Then, he will kill you. Zichen said, both of us will be injured. You overestimate yourself. At this moment, Zichen really wanted to kill Shen Hong. Such a person was too big a threat. Moreover, Yong Wei was here this time. Yi Qian did not suffer any injuries. Next time, there might not be such an opportunity. Perhaps this battle would not be easy. However, eliminating all future troubles was more important than anything else. At this moment, another person suddenly appeared in the distance. It was another Ji Shan person. The moment he appeared, he released the aura of the Yang state. Chapter 4668. After this Yang Jing appeared, he only glanced at Neil's corpse. Trash will always be trash. His gaze swept across the other corpses and he said indifferently, what kind of ability can a person who is constantly scheming for contribution points have? You guys are really good to be able to tolerate him until now. A fox stood behind Yang Jing and spoke in human language. His Yang Jing after all. We have to make the best use of him, right? Lord Ji Song. Shen Hong shouted from afar. At that moment, he had lost all hope and thought that his plan had failed. He didn't expect that the fox would come personally. Ji Song waved at Shen Hong. Of course, that was if he could call it a hand. This was a greeting and made Shen Hong feel more at ease. What use can this trash be? He can't even handle a bunch of little guys, Yang Jing said disdainfully. He even lost his life. How stupid. Ji Song said, you can't say that. At least you saw their methods. The next battle should be easier. Yang Jing raised a finger. I only need one move to deal with them. This confidence and strength moved Zi Chen and the others. Ji Song nodded and said, good. According to our previous agreement, kill the men and leave the women alive. Zi Chen stepped forward subconsciously. The men in the team all stepped forward, including Yang Wei. At this moment, their eyes were filled with determination and strong fighting spirit. Even if they knew that they couldn't avoid this, they had to stand and die. Ji Song retreated. He wouldn't attack. Yang Jing looked at everyone and his expression turned cold. I won't be merciful, so all of you can die. As he finished speaking, he moved. Suddenly, a shrill scream rang out. There was a ray of light in the sky. Help! No! Report! I want to report. The voice screamed as it fell from the sky and smashed into the ground with a loud bang. There was a deep hole in the ground. A mouse stood up shakily. I want to report. Lord, I want to report. The mouse said in a daze. Yang Jing's expression changed slightly. He had stopped attacking. Unexpectedly, it was also a speech realm. The others were also shocked. This small mouse looked harmless to humans and animals, but it was in the realm of speech. Yang Jing's eyes turned cold. What are you doing? My lord, I report. Mouse pointed to the side and said, there. What he was trying to say was that there was someone there. A calm voice sounded as a man walked forward. Hearing this voice, Zi Chen's expression changed. After turning his head, he saw that familiar figure. For some reason, after seeing Chung Ho, Zi Chen felt a sense of security. Tyrant and the others didn't know Chung Ho, so they were curious about his intentions. Who are you? Yang Jing asked. He felt a sense of pressure when he saw this human. In the distance, Ji Song said nothing, only looking at Chung Ho. I say, you're at the speech realm, aren't you? You're actually showing off in front of a group of kids. I think you're not much stronger than that trash from before. Chung Ho said in disdain, I really don't know where your confidence comes from. Mouse waved his hand desperately, indicating that Chung Ho should be more polite. You scoundrel. You have the power of a speech realm, but you don't have the guts. Chung Ho glanced at Mouse, then said to Yang Jing, but you're not even comparable to a mouse. At least it knows not to show off in front of the kids. You're courting death. Yang Jing's eyes turned cold, and killing intent surged. Chung Ho stretched out a finger and said, do you know what this is? Yang Jing was slightly stunned. Chung Ho explained, this is a move. As soon as he finished speaking, a gust of wind rose, and the withered grass and fallen leaves around flew up into the sky. Chung Ho's body moved from the spot, leaving behind an after-image as he appeared in front of Yang Jing. Accompanied by a strong wind, a turbulent airwave spread out. Boom! The ground trembled as if there was an earthquake, and cracks extended out one after another. In the cracks, billowing smoke and dust swirled. By the time everyone reacted, Zhong Hao was already standing where Yang Jing was standing. Yang Jing, who was full of killing intent and confidence, was lying on the ground with his face facing up. There was a human-shaped pit on the ground, and outside the pit were extended cracks. Occasionally, smoke and dust rose up. Yang Jing's body was motionless, and his aura became extremely weak. Chung Ho clapped his hands and said, look, you can only bully the small ones. Mouse, who was not far away, widened his eyes and looked at Chung Ho in shock. He knew that this person was very powerful, but he didn't expect him to be so powerful. The others were also extremely shocked. This guy who appeared out of nowhere was too powerful. He killed a speech realm expert in an instant. Who is he? Shen Hong had a bad feeling in his heart. If it was just helping out when he saw injustice, it wouldn't be a big deal. But if he knew Zi Chen, then it would be troublesome. Just as Shen Hong was still feeling lucky, Chung Ho turned his head and said, see, this is my true combat strength. Whether it's in the spiritual world or in another world, I'm the strongest. So, in the future, you better know your place. You should treat a big shot like me with the necessary respect, and not like a hired thug who can come and go at your beck and call. Chen nodded and asked, "Why are you here?" Of course I'm here to take a look. After all, the spiritual world is too boring." Chung Ho looked at Chen and said, "Why? Chen can come, but I can't." "Of course not. I thought it was Sister Hanu who asked you to come," Chen said. At the mention of Hanu, Chung Ho subconsciously wanted to shrink his neck, but he quickly reacted. This action was really against his image as a great expert, so he coughed lightly and said, "Do you think she can control me?" Chen gave Chung Ho a thumbs up and gave him a look that said, "You're very strong." The monk and the others were very impressed. They didn't expect Chen to know such a great expert. Suddenly, applause sounded at this moment. "I didn't expect it to be you. Looks like there's an unexpected gain this time." It was the fox. It stared at Chung Ho with a strange gaze. "Sir, this has nothing to do with me. He was the one who captured me. I was forced. Please spare my life." The rat hurriedly lay on the ground and begged for mercy. The fox said disdainfully, "You stinky things who stay underground all day are really disgusting. Get lost." The rat crawled to a nearby place as if it had been pardoned. Chapter 4669. Song grinned. "Of course not." Chung Ho said, "Do you mean that you can defeat me?" Song shook his head again. "Then why aren't you scramming?" Chung Ho's gaze turned cold. As expected, Song began to retreat, but not quickly. Rat, who was in the distance, looked at Chung Ho as if he was looking at a strange person. He could make Song retreat with just one sentence. This was really amazing. But soon, he understood the reason. Just as Song retreated, some Grahan people approached. Some were not killed before, and some came later. Song, who had retreated far away, said, "It's still the same choice. Submit or die." Chung Ho said indifferently, "If you have the ability, come over and see." Before he finished speaking, the aura of a Yang Realm expert appeared. It was the third Yang Realm expert. Chung Ho's face darkened. "Are you deliberately humiliating me?" Previously, Chung Ho had already killed a Yang Realm expert, and it was an instant kill. Now, another Yang Realm expert was indeed humiliating him. The others in the distance watched silently. The development of the situation had long exceeded their expectations, and it had long been out of control. The Yang Realm expert that Chung Ho looked down on could kill everyone here. "Of course we can't humiliate you. We value you very much." Then, the fourth and fifth Yang Realm experts walked out, appearing in 3 different directions. Chung Ho's expression was still disdainful, but in the next moment, his expression changed. Because there was a 6th aura in the field, and this aura was much stronger than the previous 5. It was not at the same level at all. Feeling this aura, everyone's expression changed. This was a completely different realm. "Head realm? You were prepared." Chung Ho looked at Song, and his expression became ugly. "You guessed that I would come?" "No. They were just passing by and wanted to watch the show. This is just a coincidence," Song said indifferently. After the head realm expert appeared, he said to Chung Ho, "This time, let's see where you can run to." Chung Ho was enraged when he heard that. "Run? Who do you think I am? Was it a rat? How could it run away just like that? Let me tell you something. Today, I will leave behind my words. Even if I die in battle, I will not run away." Besides Chen, everyone was in awe of Chung Ho. The monk asked in a low voice, "Where did you get to know such a great expert? This is too elegant." Before he could finish his words, he saw Chung Ho suddenly dashing off into the distance. This was the opposite direction of the head realm. The monk was stunned and couldn't say anything else. "Where's your face? Just a moment ago, he said that he wasn't going to run. What was he doing now?" That head realm expert was also slightly taken aback. Then, he smiled and said, "Aren't you not going to run? What I want to tell you is that even if I run, you won't be able to catch up." Chung Ho quickly ran in the opposite direction. "Really?" The head realm sneered, "Then why don't you try again?" Just in the direction Chung Ho was running, another head realm aura appeared. There was actually another head realm expert. 2 of them. Aren't they too shameless? Chong Hao cursed, and then changed his direction again. Originally, we were going to look for you, but we didn't expect you to take the initiative to come to us. The second head realm expert said, don't make a futile struggle. Fight fair and square. Fight your uncle. Chung Ho ran away again. The others in the distance were all stunned. The difference between this great expert's performance before and after was too big. Chung Ho. Zi Chen shouted in dissatisfaction, what should I do if you run? Didn't you see that I'm attracting firepower? The experts are chasing me. You can just escape by yourself, Chung Ho responded from afar. Zi Chen was so angry that he wanted to curse. This is too shameless. It's obvious that he doesn't care about me anymore. Your skin is rough and your flesh is thick. Can I trouble you to lure these three-head realm experts away? Zi Chen shouted helplessly. Okay, you three kill Zi Chen first, then come and find me. Devil Ape and the others were all dumbfounded. Is this guy Zi Chen's friend? Ji Song laughed. This was what it meant when disaster came and everyone flew away. It had seen such a scene too many times. Shen Hong finally heaved a sigh of relief. There were too many twists and turns today. His heart was nervous a few times. Fortunately, everything was about to end. Mo Zhengtian shook his head and sighed. Today was too thrilling, but Zi Chen was finally going to die. A single speech realm cultivator could kill him, not to mention that there were 3 speech realm cultivators and 2 head realm cultivators. No, another head realm expert appeared. This was the third one, right in front of Chung Ho. Chung Ho screamed and could only continue to change direction. He didn't believe that there would be a 4th head realm expert. Facing such a situation, no one thought that Zi Chen could survive. As for Chung Ho, the chances of him surviving were not high either, because the 3-head realm experts had already caught up. Haha, a bunch of idiots. You couldn't catch up to me in the past, but now you think you can? Chung Ho laughed loudly. Stop dreaming. I'm the light that you can never catch up to. He immediately sped up, and his body turned into a ray of light. His speed increased many times as he fled into the distance. He really ran away. Zi Chen was dumbfounded. Is he really not going to care about me? Ji Song's eyes were cold. He's indeed more difficult to deal with. The 3-head realm experts were helpless. In terms of speed, they were indeed slower. Just as the 3 of them were about to give up, they saw the ray of light in front of them turn back. Humph. I was just joking with you. Did you really think that I would run away? Do you think that I'm the kind of person who would abandon my friends and run away alone? Chung Ho's words rang out again. He did turn back, but he seemed to be unable to control his body. He directly smashed into the ground and plowed a mark of nearly 100 feet on the ground. Chung Ho, who landed on the ground, stood up with a dusty face. He smiled at Zi Chen and said, Brother, don't worry. I'm not that kind of person. Zi Chen looked at this guy suspiciously. How did he change his personality? The others also looked at Chung Ho strangely. He had obviously run away, so why did he come back? Chung Ho patted the dust off his body and said, I just wanted to show you the speed of a head realm expert. At the same time, I wanted you to compare the difference between the 2 sides. How is it? Do you have an idea now? Zi Chen stood there, not knowing how to answer. Chung Ho said again, see, you didn't understand what I meant, did you? Did you really think that I ran away? Let me tell you. Chung Ho, shut up. At this moment, a cold voice sounded from the horizon. Then, as if a cold current had appeared from afar, it swept over. Chapter 4670. The moment he saw the woman, Zi Chen understood why Chung Ho had suddenly turned back. There was even a hint of disdain in his eyes when he looked at him. He was even a great expert. Where was his shame? Chung Ho was signaling to Zi Chen with his eyes. Zi Chen pretended not to see it. Instead, he looked ahead and called out, Sister Han Nu. Then, an aggrieved expression appeared on Zi Chen's face again. Chung Ho wanted to slap Zi Chen to death. It was fine if he didn't help, but he actually added firewood to the fire. A cold current swept over, and a layer of frost appeared on the ground. The 3-head realm experts abandoned Chung Ho and stared at the woman who walked in. Their expressions became extremely solemn. What kind of strange person is this? Why is her aura so terrifying? Mouse lowered his head even more, trying not to attract any attention. Ji Song's expression also gradually became solemn. Kid, think of a way to run. There are 3 head realm experts here. Even if Han Nu comes, it won't be easy to deal with them, Chung Ho suddenly muttered. Zi Chen was a little uncertain about the authenticity of the other party's words. Han Nu approached and glared fiercely at Chung Ho. This is what you did. Chung Ho's face was bitter. He no longer had the domineering aura from before. He wanted to explain, but Han Nu glared at him, and he swallowed the rest of his words. Fortunately, Han Nu did not pursue the matter. She came in front of Zi Chen, looked at Zi Chen, and then looked at Zi Chen's friends. Sister, why are you here? I came to give you something, Han Nu replied softly. Then, she stretched out her jade finger and tapped between Zi Chen's eyebrows. A light bloomed from between Zi Chen's eyebrows. Abandon all distracting thoughts and sense carefully. As Han Nu's voice sounded, Zi Chen's mind gradually calmed down. At the same time, he sensed what had entered between his eyebrows. Chen technique. The power of lightning. These were the 3 most powerful powers of Saint Zi Chen back then. Among them, he had already obtained the purple soul. Could it be that the reason why he was unable to awaken his abilities was because he did not obtain the art of Chen and the power of lightning? The light from the Ice Maiden's fingertip receded, and Zi Chen slowly sat down and began to comprehend what he had just obtained. Let's buy some time for him. The Ice Maiden turned to Chung Ho, and she didn't seem to want to negotiate with him. Chung Ho hurriedly nodded and promised, don't worry, if they dare to approach my brother Zi Chen, I will beat them up until they can't even recognize their own mother. Han Nu couldn't be bothered with Chung Ho anymore. Instead, she looked at Zi Chen's friends and said, I'll leave those Ji Shan people to you. The others nodded. When Han Nu looked at the Ji Shan people again, her expression had already become incomparably cold. Kill Yang Jing first, end this quickly, understood. Chung Ho rushed forward, but the 3 Yang realm experts immediately retreated. They were very decisive. Thus, Chung Ho faced a head realm expert. Boom! A powerful wave of qi rolled and surged, and the 2 of them retreated. 2 marks appeared on the ground, and at the end of the marks, Chung Ho supported himself with one hand and said, since you've caught up, I'll let you see the true power of I, Chung Ho. I don't want you to think that I was really scared when I ran away. With that, he rushed forward. The head realm expert struck out with his palm, and the energy between heaven and earth began to surge, and one could faintly see the appearance of the rules. He slapped his palm on Chung Ho's chest. Chung Ho did not dodge, and at the same time, he punched out. His fist lit up with a resplendent light, and a dense fist intent was released. There was a loud bang. Chung Ho's body slid back 3 meters, while the head realm expert was sent flying. His body turned in midair, and after landing steadily, the head realm expert's expression became serious. Again, Chung Ho moved forward again, and it was still his fist. His fighting style was extremely valiant, and he only exchanged blows with his opponent, exchanging injury for injury. After the 2 sides collided 5 times in a row, the head realm expert with blood at the corner of his mouth began to wander left and right, and did not dare to fight head-on with Chung Ho. At this moment, Chung Ho was like a human-shaped puppet, without any emotions, and could not feel the slightest pain. Every time he attacked with all his strength, the head realm expert would retreat. This was a real attack. Those who had witnessed Chung Ho's escape earlier were not used to seeing the serious Chung Ho again. In another direction, Lady Frost was fighting against 2 people by herself. She stood still, and ice constantly condensed around her, forming ice arrows that shot toward the 2 people. Facing the ice arrows, the 2 of them could only retreat continuously. The 3 head realm experts were blocked by the 2 of them, and the battle was currently in a stalemate. The Ji Shan people charged forward, and their target was Zi Chen, but they were stopped by Monk and the rest. They were no match for the Yang realm experts, but from the looks of it, there was no problem in killing these Ji Shan people. The devil ape waved the bamboo stick in his hand, and the Ji Shan people who tried to get close were sent flying. On Su Mengyao's side, the little blue and white flower danced in the air, and all the Ji Shan people who were near her would be momentarily distracted. Being distracted on the battlefield was the most fatal thing. Zhong Haotian did not take charge alone, but instead, he wandered around. Once there was danger in any direction, he would provide support. When he suddenly appeared, he could usually kill with one blow. In the midst of the chaotic battle, Zi Chen was still sitting cross-legged, comprehending these two types of power. The battle here was very intense, and in the periphery, everyone was watching silently. There were so many unforeseen events today, and some people were happy, and some were sad. Shen Hong's emotions fluctuated the most. Unforeseen events had happened again. What was this? Was it so difficult to kill Zi Chen? At this moment, he saw the 3 Yang Realm Ji Shan people moving. At this moment, the 2 human masters were being held back, and the 3 Yang Realm experts were attacking, so it should be easy to kill Zi Chen. However, before Shen Hong could relax, he saw Cheng Ho immediately turn around and run toward one of the Yang Realm experts. That Yang Realm expert saw that the situation was not good, and chose to retreat again, while the other 2 people moved forward quickly. At this moment, a cold current came, like a huge wave rising from the ocean, and extended toward the 2 of them. The cold current swept past, and one of the Ji Shan people retreated quickly. His whole body was covered in frost, and there were shards of ice on his hair and eyebrows. He retreated nearly 300 meters before looking in another direction. There, a lifelike ice sculpture stood there, reflecting a sparkling and translucent light. In the end, that Yang Realm expert did not break out of the ice and died just like that. Ji Song had not made a move all this time. He was not good at fighting, and had always been good at using his brain. Now that he saw that his side was being obstructed, he immediately called for the other masters to come over. This was the area where the Gaduan king lived, and everything was ruled by the Gaduan king. Ji Song looked up to the sky and howled. His voice was loud and sharp, and it spread far and wide. Along with the sound, the shadow of a beast appeared at the end of their vision. It was a wolf. A silver wolf. He was the leader of all the silver wolves here.